The man fed the little donkey he had raised for over 100 years some strong liquor. Then he struck a suitable pose for himself. Next, he delivered a 1,000-year strike. All of this was to make the donkey go mad and kick him to death. But unexpectedly, what seemed like ordinary liquor to him, was, to others, a divine brew full of Taoist essence. A casual sip caused the little donkey to transform into human form ahead of schedule. The little donkey, with a blissful expression, happily ran forward. I suddenly got poked by my master, which made me a little shy. To avoid disturbing my master with a lightning strike, I should stay a little further away from him. After taking a kick to the head, I became a bit dazed. Now, I can finally return to the real world. I was originally a martial arts student in my senior year of high school. Just before the college entrance exam, I was hit by a car and fractured my left foot. I thought my academic journey was over right there. But then, an owl suddenly found me. Only a minute would pass in the real world. Without a second thought, I signed a 500-year contract. It's only 500 minutes anyway. I'd blink and it would be over. But I soon regretted it. 100 years was enough time for me to max out all my skill trees. This space is perpetually shrouded in red mist. My only companions are a little donkey and a brood of chicks. If I stay here for another 400 years, I'll surely go crazy. The system tells me the only way to leave early is to be killed. So I set my sights on the little donkey. At this time, 3 figures approached the outskirts of the Crimson Fog Forbidden Zone. The elderly leader anxiously raised his head. This rebirth Crimson Fog is becoming increasingly thin. A disciple in black turned around curiously. If the red mist here dissipates, what would happen? Gee, the madman was startled by this. Legend says this place is the tomb of the ancient demon god, Tian. He had previously used the red mist to turn this place into a forbidden zone. There was once a sect called the Xiantian sect. For generations, they took it upon themselves to guard this evil tomb. Later, the Xiantian sect established the Xiantian dynasty. This place then became the imperial forbidden ground. It's a pity that the dynasty has been destroyed for over 90 years. No one has come to guard this tomb since then. However, a prophecy was circulated within the Xiantian dynasty. Li the madman said this, forming a sword gesture. The long sword at his waist suddenly unsheathed. Then he began to carve on the ground. Crimson fog fills the sky, the imperial forbidden grounds sealed by the emperor. Ancient demons plot for millennia, their passing is a rebirth. Yao Buhui's face changed drastically upon seeing the words on the ground. It clearly states that when the red fog dissipates, the ancient demons will be reborn. The madman nodded after sheathing his sword. This world is likely to fall into chaos again. The young disciple, Lucier, stepped forward with a worried expression. Master even knows the royal family's secret language. Could it be that you really met the last empress? A sigh sounded. The last empress? Of course, I met her. The little donkey was now approaching the edge of the forbidden zone. Even the greatest tribulation wouldn't disturb the master here. He recalled several short songs imbued with Taoist rhyme that his master often sang. He hoped these songs would alleviate the pain of the tribulation. Li Fengzi and the others were starting a fire on the outskirts of the forbidden area. Suddenly, a sound containing Tao rhythm floated over. The other two only found the sound quite pleasant. Lu Xier, who was already skilled in music theory, was immediately stunned on the spot. Such celestial music from beyond the world made him feel his body being filled with endless spiritual energy. He instantly felt on the verge of a breakthrough. Meeting Lu Xier and simply listening to a short melody led to a breakthrough. Li Fengzi and the others were naturally overjoyed. But this stroke of luck came too unexpectedly. Xiaomaolv, having transformed into human form for the first time, also sang enthusiastically. Unknowingly, a night passed. When they came to their senses, the thunder had not fallen. Instead, the red mist surrounding the forbidden area had vanished without a trace. Lu Xier listened to the celestial music all night without sleep, and the red mist dissipated. He saw a woman in red on the opposite cliff. She happily raised her hand and waved. Sister, was it you singing just now? After surviving the tribulation, LV Dangqi turned his gaze towards the opposite cliff. It turned out to be a human cultivator greeting him. He was suddenly startled. He quickly ran towards the interior of the red mist forbidden zone. He mustn't be killed by these people. I still need to keep this useful body to wait for my master. When Li Fengzi and his apprentice woke up, they only saw that the mist that had surrounded the forbidden area for 1,000 years had actually dissipated. Lu Xier, in pursuit of a strange woman, had actually flown into the forbidden area on her sword. Seeing this, the two quickly chased after her. I was dazedly awakened by a donkey's bray. Even like this, he still hasn't died. But it wasn't until the red mist dispersed that I realized this space was actually so vast. I looked up at the three figures flying towards me on swords. Could this be the legendary immortal cultivation world? The man just gave the little donkey a pot of wine. I didn't expect the little donkey to transform into human form. To avoid disturbing me during the tribulation, the little donkey ran to the edge of the red mist and sang all night. Not only that, the tribulation didn't even descend. Instead, the red mist surrounding the forbidden area disappeared without a trace. The red mist dissipated and was discovered by a human cultivator. In order to avoid being killed, he kept himself single to serve me. He led the human cultivator all the way to my courtyard. When the old madman saw me, a huge storm surged in his heart. He wondered if this person was the rebirth of an ancient demon god. I should have killed him earlier, but even though the other party tried their best to hide it, I can still feel the immense spiritual power within him. I'm afraid this demon god's cultivation has already reached the top of the entire continent. For the sake of my two disciples, I can't act impulsively now. Seeing these human cultivators not daring to make a sound, the little donkey peeked its head out from behind its master. Wagging its big tongue, it started to mock them. Yao Buhui angrily drew his sword, but he was stopped by Li Fengzi's shout. I was already laughing inside. He draws his sword right away. Looks like he's really eager to die. Li Fengzi stepped forward, smiling and saluting. May I ask how to address this fellow Taoist? Meanwhile, I was still racking my brain, trying to figure out how they could kill me. Maybe I should let them in and sit down first, then find an opportunity. Li Fengzi was also trying to test the true strength of my demonic powers. He immediately agreed with a smile. Once everyone was seated inside the room, I greeted them and went to prepare the meal. Little did I know, the people inside were already so shocked they could hardly sit still. This place indeed has an incredibly rich spiritual energy. Even a blessed cave or land of immortals would be hard-pressed to compare. Cultivating here would likely lead to a breakthrough in no time. Li Fengzi cautiously surveyed the area outside the house. One must always be wary of others, especially when there's a donkey demon around. Nothing good can come of it. However, Lu Dongqi transformed into a human and walked in. You mere mortals, do you really think you can see through your master's immortal arts? Yao Buhui had never liked the donkey demon. Without hesitation, he drew his sword and stepped aside. But he was casually pinched by LV Dongqi with 2 fingers. A second-rate swordsman dares to draw his sword at me. Saying this, he already bent the tip of his sword. Your great-aunt fled this morning. It's just that the demon race has an instinctual fear of humans. Do you really think I can't defeat the 2 of you little girls? Lu Shi quickly intervened. I was just chasing you this morning. I only wanted to ask the name of that classic poem. I didn't intend to kill you. Li, the madman, wore a childish expression. I never expected that even this donkey demon has reached the same level as myself. That young man's cultivation is simply unfathomable. The sword in Yao Buhui's hand suddenly slipped from his grip. Qi, with a playful look, held the sword in his hand. With a light flick of his finger, he sheathed Yao Buhui's treasured sword. Seeing this, Yao Buhui was utterly shocked. What a powerful demon. After dinner, all of you get lost. Don't disturb my master and me's happy life again. After saying that, she transformed back into a little donkey and turned to leave. Only, the fart she let out before leaving was a little extraordinary. In a short while, I had prepared a table of dishes. As long as they drink my specially made, knockout donkey, brew, they'll act wildly drunk later. It's really my father who's come. Mistakenly killing me is no easy matter. The rich aroma of wine lifts the spirits of the 3 masters and disciples. This table of food and wine actually contains the principles of the universe. Could it be that the opportunity for a breakthrough has arrived again? I introduced the dishes, mapo tofu. It's best served over rice, making it a perfect meal. I thought these cultivators would look down on the simple food I had prepared. I didn't expect that people from this world have never even seen tofu. I can only explain that this image represents food obtained like frozen elixirs. Lu Xier instantly understood upon hearing this. So, this is a kind of medicinal pill, I see. Once you start, you can't stop. Vili entered food bragging mode. Even Yao Buhui couldn't help but drool. Li Fengzi is, after all, the master. He eats slowly and chews his food thoroughly. I saw that the meal lacked atmosphere. How could that do? I'll raise a toast to our meeting today. Cheers. Please feel free. But in my heart, I was scheming. As long as I get them drunk, I can kill him. This will be my own. Unexpectedly, after drinking the wine, Lucy's realm directly broke through to the mid-second leaf stage. Li Fengzi took a sip of wine. Even old internal injuries have shown signs of improvement. Only Yao Buhui shakily stood up. Then she collapsed straight back down. I quickly stepped forward to support her. Yao miss, are you alright? But in the next moment, an unexpected change occurred. The beautiful woman in my arms suddenly had a cold expression. The sword at her waist was drawn in an instant. The sudden turn of events made my heart soar with joy. If you don't chop off my head today, I look down on you all. Seeing the sword about to strike me, Lu Xier immediately stood up to stop it, but was stopped by Li Fengzi. Every time Bu Hui breaks through, she loses control, and her fighting power doubles for a short time. And when Bu Hui loses control, the spirit sword Jing will protect her. This is the perfect opportunity to test the depth of the demon's abilities. Hearing the noise from inside the room, Lu Dongqi in the yard twitched his ears. Then he charged toward the room. You shameless scoundrel, how dare you disrespect the master? Watch my iron hooves. The sound of metal colliding echoed inside the room. I didn't lose a single strand of hair. Instead, Yao Buhui's spiritual sword broke into 3 sections. LV Dongqi snorted disdainfully. Then he swaggered out of the room, leaving behind the 2 master and disciple, both looking confused. This is no ordinary sword. It was actually kicked in half like this. And I was also filled with disappointment as I looked at the broken spirit sword on the ground, which had been snapped in half by a foolish donkey's hoof. This is supposed to be a spirit sword. Yao Buhui, whose life-bound flying sword was destroyed, felt a sweetness in his throat. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed all over my face. I was so scared that I quickly let go. I treated them to food and drinks as best as I could. Look at you guys. This is clearly a scam. I was even hoping they'd kill me. I didn't expect them to die before me. But it's fine, I've also been learning from the frost system for 100 years. Whether it's a real illness or a scam, you can't fool me. Thinking I'll take out my silver needles from Beijing. Everyone, step aside. I'm about to show off. After I placed my hand on Yao Buhui's pulse, his complexion immediately changed, and Li Fengzi was startled. Is there still hope for my disciple? I sighed deeply and knew I had to give it a try. I then instructed Lu Xier to help Yao Buhui remove some clothing, so I could easily apply the needles. I won't explain the needle techniques anymore. Even if I do, you wouldn't understand. Just watch and see how much you can comprehend. It's your own fortune. Seeing that Yao Buhui finally woke up slowly, Lu Xier happily called out. After waking up, Yao Buhui tried to pull the silver needles out of his body. Li Fengzi quickly held him down. What the demon just used should be the ghost needle technique. I only saw it once when I was a child in the palace. But as long as I cure my disciple, what does it matter if it's a forbidden technique? When she heard that I saved her, Yao Buhui quickly thanked me. I just gave a few half-hearted replies. But the truth is, I was only seeking death. How did it end up with me saving someone? I didn't die this time. How should I seek death next time? It's really giving me a headache. Yao Buhui, who had just recovered from a serious illness, picked up the sword on the ground, feeling heartbroken. I couldn't bear to watch either. It's all that strong donkey's fault. I didn't discipline it well enough. It's not your fault, master. The little donkey was only acting this way to save its master. Saying that, he held the broken spirit sword and said to Li Fengzi, this sword has accompanied me for many years. The disciple hopes to give him a proper burial. As he said this, he suddenly turned and looked at me. Mr. Nye, I wonder if I could borrow your wine. I awkwardly nodded. Wine alone won't be enough. I had just prepared the 4 treasures of the study. I held my breath, and then Lu Xier leaned in. Brother Nye, what are you doing? I raised the pen in my hand. In my hometown, it is only with wine and poetry that we send off dear friends in the best way. As my pen moves across the paper, even the likes of the mad calligrapher can feel the presence of the Tao. Every stroke, every character brings the sword rushing at you, but the sword intent within is so terrifying. Any ordinary person who dares to casually contemplate it, I'm afraid it will end in death and destruction. I handed the scroll in my hand to Yao Buhui. Let this be my apology to Brother Jian. Yao Buhui was also filled with satisfaction. It was without regret that his treasured sword would be accompanied by this poem. After doing all of this, it was already late outside. Li Fengzi invited me to stay the night at his mansion. He still wanted to continue observing me, this reincarnated demon god, but in my heart, I was overjoyed. I was just looking for an excuse to keep you here. If you leave, it's cold and desolate on this barren mountain. Who will I get to kill me? At night, I went out of the house alone. I didn't expect this little girl to actually make a grave for her sword. It's just that the spiritual sword is buried at peace. I still have to worry about how I'm going to die. I only wish I could die with the same sense of purpose as you. There was a time when I was also a martial arts student. I was injured while trying to save a stranger. I fractured my bones. Because of the fracture, I had to give up my martial arts entrance exam. Instead, I focused on both the arts and sciences. In the end, I was deceived by this pyramid scheme. Although now I am skilled in both fields, Still trapped here for 400 years. It's a long story. I struck a Tai Chi starting pose. Haven't practiced in ages. Time for some Tai Chi, reminiscing about the past. Lu Shi'er sleepily left the room to relieve himself. A gust of wind nearly blew away his urge to urinate. He cautiously peeked out into the courtyard, and saw an incredibly handsome man practicing an unknown martial art in the courtyard. His hands crossed. It seemed as if the laws of heaven and earth were changing in his hands. I hurried back to the room to tell my senior sister, Yao Buhue, about this. Yao Buhue subconsciously touched the spot where she had been pricked by a needle that day. It still exuded a lingering resonance. Just who is this Mr. Nye? I wanted to practice Tai Chi, to reminisce about the past. I didn't expect that I hadn't practiced for 10 years. I can still do this so effortlessly now. Thinking back to when I used to punch through a set of moves, feeling clear and relaxed. Then I look at now. Since I'm on a roll, I decided to keep going for a bit longer. But I didn't expect that heaven wouldn't let me be at ease. Suddenly, a lightning bolt struck down, nearly scaring the life out of me. It struck a tree not far away. In the next second, it shattered into pieces. If it had hit a person, if I don't instantly turn to dust, life goes on. I'm determined to keep pushing the limits, and in that moment, I had an idea. This is the heavenly lightning of the cultivation world. Killing someone like me, an ordinary person, is no more difficult than a flip of the hand. Just as I was feeling proud of my brilliant idea, laughter echoed from inside the room. It turned out that Lu Sierra was laughing after seeing my unknown martial arts moves, which were full of the essence of martial arts. Inside the room, she was demonstrating to her senior sister, Yao Buhue. No matter how hard she tried to imitate, she couldn't grasp the essence. Yao Buhue lovingly patted Lu Shixin's head. That Mr. Nye is no ordinary person. Moreover, the essence of martial arts can only be expressed by those who have truly comprehended it. Our cultivation is still too low, so we're not there yet. Meanwhile, lying outside the room, LV Dangchi opened his eyes. Stretching lazily, he transformed into human form. My master is so impressive. You two little girls can't just learn it by sneaking a peek. The fist moves my master performed earlier seem to be called Tai Chi. Although it looks slow and leisurely, it feels really good when executed. Ah, I got so excited after being teased by my master. I need to find a place to practice my punches quickly. Then, I ran to the edge of the red mist, holding my breath and focusing. The void gives birth to nature. Nature gives birth to the Tao gives birth to the One Qi. The One Qi divides into yin and yang. At the same time, above the thunderclouds, the incarnation of the heavenly Tao is in a daze. It had just been struck by a spiritual energy. Startled, it reflexively released a thunderbolt. As the heavenly Tao incarnation regained composure, it looked downward. It happened to see Lu Dangchi preparing to throw a punch. I casually said, wow, a donkey actually transformed. And it even dodged the tribulation. And just now, it seemed like he was the one who hit me. As an incarnation of the heavenly Tao, I can't tolerate this. I must strike him. I'll make up for the tribulation right now. Instantly, several heavenly thunders descended from the sky. And I stood on the mountaintop, holding an iron pot to attract the lightning. But it just wouldn't strike me. It made me so angry I threw down the pot and cursed. Is the way of heaven like 1000-degree nearsightedness? Which iron pot of mine triggered the lightning? Why isn't it punishing me? It seems like I still need to study my suicide plan carefully. In the world of immortals, you have to deal with some mystical things. Like making an oath. If you can't keep it, the heavens will strike you down with lightning. I swear, I will be a scumbag. Otherwise, I'll be struck by 5 bolts of lightning. I thought that if I acted like a jerk, I would be happy. Let's give it a try and see if it works. After all, there's nothing to lose. The lightning from the heavens struck right at my feet. I can't believe this is happening. Since it's working, I'll just go for it. Meanwhile, Lu Dangchi was still immersed in his fighting spirit. The lightning from the heavens just couldn't strike her. Swearing to strike her, the incarnation of the heavenly Tao was furious and grinding its teeth. I'll unleash my ultimate move. I don't believe it anymore. A full-range AoE and it still can't hit you. Tonight, I'm going to eat donkey meat hot pot. The ultimate move is coming straight down. I swear this comic won't get popular. Otherwise, I'll be struck by 5 bolts of lightning, and after that, more lightning. It'll blast me into dust. When you hear my oath, the lightning actually turns and comes flying at me. I looked at the thunderbolt coming toward me and finally showed a relieved smile. This strike is definitely going to hit and kill me. I looked at the thunderbolt coming toward me and finally showed a relieved smile. With a loud explosion, the mountaintop was flattened. The next morning, Lee the madman, still shaken, pushed open the door. He had wanted to go out for a midnight bathroom break, but the thunder was too fierce, and he was so scared he stayed in bed the whole night without daring to go out. At this moment, Yao Buhui and the other person happened to be walking over. Last night, the disciple was in the midst of enlightenment. Suddenly, I felt the arrival of the heavenly tribulation. I wasn't sure if it was you undergoing the tribulation. Li Fengzi awkwardly denied it. I do have some skills, though. I suspect it was another powerful cultivator undergoing tribulation nearby. Last night's heavenly tribulation seemed extraordinary. I wonder if the master knows the origin of this sequence. It turns out the disaster is a ninefold thunder calamity. It will destroy an entire land. Only when the legendary child of destiny is born will the heavens send down this thunder calamity. Lu Shi was stunned, listening attentively. Was the thunder from yesterday that powerful? Li Fengzi's face darkened as he responded. This thunder tribulation has not descended in 1,000 years. I also learned about its origins from some ancient texts. The child who defies the heavens, only that demon king, could bring about the destruction of all living beings in an instant. If the thunder tribulation tonight was caused by him, it wouldn't be surprising. But if that's really the case, why are my master and I still safe and sound? Just as I was speaking, I walked in, holding an iron pot in my hand, dressed in casual clothes. Li Fengzi saw me in this state, and came out. This burnt smell, the lightning strike was indeed caused by him, and yet, he's completely unharmed. It's ridiculously unnatural. Yao Buhui and the others walked over to greet me. I awkwardly poured water over my head. Miss Yao, are your injuries alright? Yao Buhui chuckled lightly. My injuries have basically healed. I also want to thank Mr. Nye for coming to my rescue. Before I could even speak, Lu Xier grabbed my sleeve, and shouted, Brother, did you see the thunder in the sky last night? The thunder was so loud, constantly striking towards us. She even gestured with her hands as she spoke. I saw it. The lightning from the thunderstorm last night had too low a voltage. He struck me all night. Besides feeling numb all over, I felt nothing. The speaker meant nothing, but the listener took it to heart. He directly gave Li Crazy a harsh blow. Damn, shouldn't you be hiding your identity at this time? Can you not be so good at acting? Why don't you say that a heavenly thunderbolt was summoned by your little brother? But the little brother, Donkey, was the one who actually summoned the tribulation. But I sneezed in the yard, and Li Fengzi became even more wary of me. He swore that he must not let me regain my strength. He had to kill me in this little villa, because I was struck by lightning all night yesterday. Right now, I'm extremely exhausted. I just went back to my room and lay down on the bed. Lu Xier and Yao Buhui were looking at me, very concerned. Li Fengzi lowered his head, not knowing what he was scheming. I signaled to Lu Xier that I was fine. A good sleep will do. When I wake up, I'll make them something delicious. At the mention of cooking, Li Fengzi immediately smiled and said, he had some culinary skills. He would handle the meal for the day. Yao Buhui and the others were immediately shocked and they heard their master was going to cook. Lu Shi called out, and Geng Liang knelt down, hugging Yao Buhui's legs and crying uncontrollably. The last time my master roasted a rabbit, I only had one bite and couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. This time, I might be stuck for 3 months. A fresh, hot bump appeared on Lu Shi's head. In the kitchen, the high-end ingredients often only require the simplest cooking methods, poisoning included. The same goes for this. Saying this, he dumped all kinds of poison into the mix, muttering to himself, my God, it's all your fault, Jing, you're so arrogant, making me cook. Just wait, I'll poison you. The next moment, the iron wok emitted a dazzling golden light. A deafening explosion came from the kitchen. Li Fengzi looked at the iron wok in complete confusion. Why did this iron wok explode? He then collapsed to the ground and fainted. Why would the iron pot explode? The first thing Li Fengzi did when he woke up was to examine the large iron pot. It looked like an ordinary iron pot. Why would it suddenly explode? While he was pondering, the iron pot suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light. Then, a vision of the incarnation of the heavenly Tao appeared in the air. Li Fengzi was terrified. Finally, once again acting like the big smart one, it seems that last night, Mi Tian deliberately brought on the 9 thunder calamity. The purpose was to seal the power of the thunder lac into the iron pot. Now, this iron pot has transformed into a terrifyingly powerful top-tier magical artifact. The explosion just now was because I inadvertently triggered the artifact, causing the heavenly power inside the pot to leak out. Mi Tian truly lives up to his name. Deliberately turning ordinary items into top-tier magical tools is to make the opponent let down their guard, then catch them off guard. What a clever tactic. Just as the old madman was still daydreaming, I suddenly appeared and scared Li the madman, making him jump 3 feet in the air. I awkwardly pretended it was an explosion sound. I went over to check if the kitchen was damaged. I don't think there are any major issues in the kitchen. It seems like Mr. Lee's problem is quite serious. Crazy Lee scratched his head, saying it's just a superficial injury. Don't you have any self-awareness? Can't you see for yourself? So that's what happened. The way you look, you should be in the ICU. According to cultivation lore, a master would suddenly unleash their true chi. There was an explosion or something. Could it be that Lee the madman is like this? Trying to figure things out. I immediately said, Mr. Lee, should I take a look at you? I'm a seasoned TCM practitioner. But Lee the madman firmly refused. Yao Buhui and Lucy Xin saw their master's injuries. It just so happens that I'm an old Chinese medicine doctor. One on the left and one on the right, they restrained Li Fengzi. No matter how much Li Fengzi struggled, the two tall disciples held him and walked him out of the kitchen. Just as they were about to exit the kitchen, Yao Buhui suddenly changed expression. The tall disciple knelt to the ground, clutching his stomach, his face contorted in pain. The spiritual energy inside was in turmoil. There was a thrilling sensation that washed over my entire body. I was also startled when I saw this. After some treatment, I took out the silver needle. Sorry about that. Yesterday, when I was giving Miss Yao the acupuncture, I forgot to remove one of the needles. Upon hearing this, Lu Xier and Li Fengzi immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Yao Buhui, who had recovered, blushed and sat up. If it weren't for Mr. Zha's help, I fear I would have been seriously injured by now. It should be due to Zha's concern causing me to panic. I, too, was a bit at a loss because of this silly girl. Right. You three haven't had breakfast yet, have you? I'll go prepare breakfast now. As I spoke, I quickly ran off. In no time at all, I brought a pot of porridge. I served it to them. Old madman truly deserves to be a master. With a single glance, he could tell that this porridge was no ordinary item. The spiritual energy in the air is so rich. Why would Mi Tian intentionally display such a precious treasure? Lu Xier, this little foodie, was already drooling at the sight of breakfast, while Yao Buhui leisurely sipped his drink. But just after taking a sip, with a clatter, the bowl slipped from his hand and fell. His body trembled, and he gasped. The next second, a strong spiritual energy erupted from him. He had actually broken through. A 3-leaf mark appeared on his forehead. He directly skipped 2 levels and broke through to a 3-leaf swordmaster. This made Li Fengzi and Lu Xier extremely happy. Li Fengzi looked at the porridge on the table. Something's not right. Although this porridge contains spiritual energy, it must be refined slowly. Could it be that Nia Xiaotian helped Buhui unblock the meridians with his needles earlier? If that's the case, if Nia Xiaotian could help me with acupuncture, then I should be able to break through as well. Then I should also be able to break through. Thinking of this, he gave a light cough, and downed a large bowl of porridge in one gulp. Mr. Nia, I just finished a bowl of porridge. I feel a bit unwell. Damn. This old man seemed fine just now. Is he pretending again? I was looking for a way to die. I wore a metal pot and tried to attract a thunderstrike. But the so-called strongest thunderstrike, the 9 days of thunder, hit me for 9 days straight. I didn't even lose a single hair. Just yesterday, Master Lee, the crazy man from the scam team, after drinking a bowl of porridge I made, immediately said he felt unwell. Reluctantly, I had to use the medical skills I learned to treat him. His 2 apprentices, in the next room, could only remain speechless, as they heard Lee's screams, which sounded like a pig being slaughtered. They're both over 1,000 years old. You're already like this after just 1 needle. Meanwhile, inside, I happily watched Mr. Lee, who I had turned into a pincushion. Mr. Lee, this first treatment is now complete, but I see you have some underlying health issues. It's best to do a needle treatment every day for the next few days. What the hell? What did you say? These next few days, I'll be needling you every day, 99-80 times. That's right. The old gentleman's even learned to answer quickly. I believe that after 9 treatments, I can completely cure you. 9 more times of needling. Lee Crazy just lies down flat, tears welling in his eyes. 9 consecutive days of acupuncture. For this old man, it's an insurmountable ordeal. I often heard him mention this ordeal, so I curiously asked, was last night's ordeal it? The name sounds fierce, but after experiencing it myself, what's going on here? Lee, the madman, also got worked up by my pretentious words. Mr. Nye, you probably don't know how terrifying the 9 thunder tribulation is. It will descend upon a person at midnight on the 9th day of continuous thunder, and it will be twice as powerful as the previous day. The thunder tribulation on the 9th day is the sum of the previous 8. Isn't that incredible? When I heard it, I was really impressed. So, this lightning tribulation also has its own thoughts now. Even cultivation novels wouldn't dare write it like this. The lightning tribulation that grows more powerful every day. Does that mean today's lightning tribulation will be stronger? Everyone laughed when they heard my daydreaming. Li Fengzi finally couldn't hold back and wanted to comfort me. He grabbed my collar and started shaking me. Damn it. I've said so much. And you're still laughing. Don't you have any sense of danger? Immediately, I felt awkward. And pulled the needle out. This time, I won't forget to remove the needle. Midnight. I'm still standing on the mountaintop with a cast iron pan in hand, shouting loudly with confidence. I'm fully prepared. Please don't pity me just because I'm delicate. Just go ahead and use your full power to strike me down. At this moment in the sky, the incarnation of the heavenly Tao is furiously charging himself up. Damn it. I spent the whole night striking, but I didn't even touch the little donkey's fur. Today, I'm boosting the power. I don't believe I can't finish you off. When the electric charge was almost enough, the incarnation of the heavenly Tao parted the clouds and looked down. It just so happened that I was holding up an iron pot, shouting loudly. The incarnation of the heavenly Tao was a bit confused by this. Someone even asked me to strike him. When I looked closely at the incarnation of the heavenly Tao, I remembered it was me. Last night, I was in the middle of striking the little donkey. I was the one guiding the lightning tribulation. I searched everywhere without finding it, and it came effortlessly. This was all brought to me by you, kid. Shoot the horse first when shooting a person. Split the master first when splitting a donkey. My power is super doubled today. I don't believe I can't defeat you. Thunder rolls down. The mountain peak is leveled. With the appearance of a ray of sunlight, I threw down the iron pot. Damn it. Are you kidding me? You almost killed me. I didn't feel a thing. You couldn't even kill a normal person. You still dare to call yourself a heavenly tribulation. You just wait. I'll be back tomorrow. And the incarnation of the heavenly Tao has already made me so mad, my nose is smoking. Damn it. I still brought the wrong charger today. I'll double it tomorrow. I swear I'm going to kill you. It's decided. Every day I have a showdown with the heavenly tribulation. Third day. By the 8th day, I had gradually become numb. As it reached the 9th day, Master Li and his disciples were inside the house watching the thunder tribulation. Lu Xier was a bit worried. Today's thunder tribulation is stronger than the previous ones. I hope Brother Nye won't be in danger. Yao Buhui also looked concerned. This 9-day thunder tribulation is so powerful. Mr. Nye goes out every night to attract the thunder. What is he doing? Is he using the thunder to cultivate his skills? Li the madman says. Mr. Nye is not as simple as you think. Let's just wait and see how things unfold. Meanwhile, I sit cross-legged on the mountaintop, waiting for the 9th day's thunder tribulation. Damn it. For 8 consecutive days, I haven't felt anything. I'm not even embarrassed to call myself Lei Ling. Will you even be able to do it, you little dog? The heavenly Tao incarnation has even brought out their most precious charger. Going all in today. Guaranteed high power, high voltage. You're daring the heavens to strike you, huh? I bet I can't kill you. So here I am, holding a wok, waiting to be struck by lightning. Today's tribulation seems different indeed. It's so numbingly comfortable. Is this what it feels like to be struck dead by lightning? The heavenly Tao's manifestation heard me say it was comfortable. I instantly lose my mind. Damn it. You still say it's comfortable. Another round of relentless bombardment. The mountaintop I was standing on has been flattened again. After 9 days of continuous hard work, I'm completely drained. All I can do is find a comfortable position, lie down, and wait for the thunder to strike. I let out a helpless sigh. The next day, I walked down the mountain path, muttering to myself, it's true, it still didn't strike me dead. The heavenly tribulation is really unreliable after all. Suddenly, I was drawn by a burst of golden light. What the heck is this? So blinding. A new death-defying trick every day. After I scheduled a 9-day duel with the 9 heavens tribulation. As always, it still didn't kill me. It seems heavenly tribulations are unreliable. Suddenly, I was attracted by a burst of golden light. Damn it. Here's the thing. The sword that was broken by the donkey a few days ago has miraculously mended itself. It turns out that last night, when I was fighting the tribulation thunder, a bolt of lightning accidentally struck the sword tomb. The lightning activated the Tao rhyme in the poem and the broken sword. The broken sword surprisingly shattered and then reassembled itself, reborn as a new, great sword. There's nothing I can do. Let's return it to Yao Buhui first. But I just grabbed the big sword. Suddenly, Lu Xier appeared. She called out, brother. She asked me with concern, but the thunder at night looked so scary. Brother Nye, are you okay? I was so awkward. He gestured that it was okay. I can run and jump. My whole body feels a little numb. I only remembered when I saw Yao Buhui. His broken sword was repaired. Then I took out the great sword I just picked up. I found this on my way home just now. Your sword seems to have been resurrected. Yao Buhui took the great sword, his face full of shock. Lu Xier quietly sneaked over to Li Fengzi's side. Master, Did senior sister really break the sword with one swing? Li Fengzi stroked his beard, his face solemn as he replied, logically speaking, with the sword broken like this, it can no longer be repaired, but I don't know why. I feel that its current form is its true form. He immediately asked me about how I found the Daobao Jin. I scratched the back of my head and recalled, it was when I was going down the mountain, that I saw this sword hovering over the graveyard of swords. Although its appearance has changed a lot, I felt it must be the sword that Miss Buhui broke before, so I just brought it back. Seeing me in a daze, Li Fengzi secretly pondered. He thought to himself, the poem he inscribed on the broken sword is full of swordsmanship spirit. It must have been preparation for the broken sword's rebirth. But to help Buhui recast the treasure sword, why pretend to know nothing about it? Lu Xier also became interested at this time. Brother Nye, do you know what exactly has changed with this sword? I feel helpless inside. How the hell would I know? All I can do is helplessly explain. I'm not very clear on it either. If anyone knows the current state of this sword best, it would have to be Miss Buhui. Yao Buhui heard my words and didn't hesitate. Immediately, she raised her sword. She held her breath and focused. Then she performed the sword move. The sword strike was coming down. Yao Buhui landed steadily. At that moment, the sword in her hand emitted a dazzling silver light. The shards that were originally gathered together. At this moment, they scattered in all directions. They swirled around Yao Buhui. With a command from Yao Buhui, gather. The scattered sword fragments flew back to form the sword again. Finally, they coalesced into a great sword. Li Fengzi was stunned by this sight. The sword was surrounded by the laws of the heavenly tribulation. Did she absorb the power of the heavenly tribulation last night? Yao Buhui raised her great sword. The scene just now had made Lu Xier admire her greatly. She looked eager to try it herself. Yao Buhui, holding her great sword, was secretly alarmed. This sword seemed to have its own spirit. It even guided her to perform sword techniques. Thinking of this, she bowed gracefully to me. Thank you, Mr. Nye. Thank you for giving my friend a new lease on life. I am forever grateful. I quickly waved my hand. Miss Bu, there's no need for this. It was nothing, I simply picked up this sword. But this sword, unpredictable in its separation and combination, changeable and ever-shifting, mysterious and extraordinary, it truly is a divine sword. I hadn't finished speaking. The great sword changed again. The words, separation and combination, appeared on the blade. What the hell is this situation now? Yao Buhui thanked me again for naming the divine sword. That madman Li is rambling again. Using the essence of the sword wall rhyme as a mold, and reforging the sword body, forged with the power of heaven. This immeasurable power is truly unfathomable. But to go to such great lengths to reforge a treasured sword for a chance encounter with Buhui, could it be that they intend to take us, master and disciple, into their service? And I face Yao Buhui's repeated thanks. I truly feel undeserving of this. Just as Yao Buhui was about to say something else, a rustling sound suddenly came from all around him. In the next moment, his clothes instantly turned to fragments. This scene shocked everyone, and I stood in front of him, coldly staring at her. Damn it. Turns out this girl is quite something. Didn't expect to see me lying on the ground. Yao Buhui still cares about me. The scene shifts, and Yao Buhui has already changed into a new outfit. Lu Xier teased. Senior sister, your big sword is powerful, sure, but the clothes are a bit useless. And I squatted at the foot of the wall, looking dejected. This sword is incredibly powerful. If I lose control even a little, I'd be minced meat. Then a brilliant idea struck me. This great genius, thought of a wonderfully reckless plan. I was trying to save a girl crossing the road and ended up with a fractured left leg. Therefore, I obtained the scholar system. To smoothly pass the Gaokao, I entered the system space to study academic subjects. 10 years later, I wanted to return to the real world, but the system informed me that to leave, I had to be killed. So I began a long and arduous quest to die. At this time, Lu Dongqi, the little donkey, was sitting dejectedly on the steps. It's my fault for repairing Yao Buhui's sword, and I even named it. Men are all pigs. Men are all lecherous wolves. So I made up my mind to win him back. Meanwhile, Yao Buhui, whose new clothes had been torn due to a lack of control, had changed into new clothes. Mr. Nye, Buhui's skills are still lacking. I failed to control the clutch sword properly. I hope you'll forgive me. I couldn't help but look at the young lady's figure. You should apologize to me. I awkwardly coughed lightly. Miss Buhui has just received the clutch sword. She must still be unfamiliar with it. If you don't mind, can I live with you, even just for a short time? It would be nice to feel the warmth of a real connection. I do have some understanding of martial arts. No need to hesitate, just take action. And I was also ready to be struck by his sword and end it all. But Yao Buhui is still being polite with me. I look at her and feel irritated. I just got the new equipment. Shouldn't we find someone to challenge and test its power? Or are you too disdainful of my weakness to bother fighting me? If you don't fight, how are you going to kill me? Or do you think I'm at a disadvantage, without a weapon? Thinking about that, I ran away like a streak of lightning. Miss Buhui, I understand what you mean. Wait a moment. The two of them were left standing there, their minds filled with question marks. And I picked up the big iron pot I used when fighting the heavenly calamity. I hung the iron pot around my neck. Miss Buhui, I've already put on my armor. You just go ahead and give it your all, let's fight. At this moment, Li the madman also walked out of the house. Buhui, you just go ahead and spar with Mr. Nye. Don't worry about hurting him. I've earned Shixiao's approval. Yao Buhui didn't waste words. He immediately launched his sword attack. Mr. Nye, I apologize. I also held my iron wok, ready in a defensive stance. Yao Buhui's Liha sword lunged towards me. I also took a step forward. Steady your stance and gripped the iron pot tightly. In the next moment, the fragments of the sword, shattered from the blade, crash into the iron pot. Li Fengzi and Lu Xier are both stunned by the scene. This attack can't be described as just powerful. This is terrifying. The force of the punch extends. It doesn't harm Bu Hui, yet it is strong enough to shatter the wall several yards behind him. This is no longer comparable to ordinary long-range attacks. Even at my peak, I wouldn't be able to do this. What kind of power does this demon possess? What is their intention? And I see that every time, Yao Buhui always uses this move. It's incredibly frustrating. When will she finally use her real killing move? I almost can't wait to throw myself onto her sword. At this moment, Yao Buhui changed her sword moves. She decided to use her ultimate move to test my strengths and weaknesses. I secretly rejoiced, holding the iron wok. It finally came. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Just as the sword tip was 0.01 meters from me, I calmly put down the iron wok, and waited serenely to be killed by her. Yao Buhui was greatly startled by my reaction. He was shocked and terrified, but the power of the heavenly tribulation from his grandmother's iron pot suddenly appeared, repelling all the incoming fragments of the sword. I closed my eyes and waited for a long time, but I felt nothing. Why didn't the feeling of being killed appear yet? I opened one eye to peek, but was stunned by the scene before me. Li Fengzi and his two disciples stared at me in shock. Yao Buhui was the first to react. Buhui's skills were lacking and almost hurt the master. Please punish him, master. I could only awkwardly wave my hand, telling him not to worry. Inside, I couldn't help but silently groan. The sword was only 0.01 meters away from me. He can even retract his sword strikes. Is there no justice left? Yao Buhui still wants to continue, but is stopped by Li Fengzi. Buhui, try retracting the sword separation now. Yao Buhui focused his mind. The scattered sword fragments on the ground began to vibrate, then slowly floated up. In the shock of Yao Buhui, the crowd gathered. Li Fengzi watched this scene. Isn't it more effortless to control now? Yao Buhui was suddenly enlightened by Li Fengzi's words. Previously, the separation sword seemed to contain the laws of heaven and earth, but the power it could absorb was limited. That's why you lost control before. Mr. Nye is using the name of cutting. Let the body, which was once dormant, gradually awaken. Only then can it connect with your heart. Yao Buhui looked at the Lihua sword in his hand, stunned. As for me, once again courting disaster, I had nothing left to care for and just wanted to lie down. Feeling frustrated, I took the iron pot and just wanted some peace. Before leaving, I still reminded them to feed the little donkey for me. The little donkey won't eat the hay. Give him whatever he wants to eat. Li Fengzi immediately agreed. When Lu Xie heard Li Fengzi was cooking, she hugged Yao Buhui and started crying. Senior sister, I'm still young, I don't want to die. The man poured strong liquor into the little donkey he'd raised for over 100 years, then took up a proper stance himself. Another millennium kill. I only did this to drive the donkey mad and get kicked to death, to return to Earth. All for the sake of self-destruction. I can only rack my brains every day to think of a little trick to kill myself. But every little trick I come up with ends in failure. I feel like I'm getting a bit autistic. Just then, the owl, the culprit who caused me to come to this world, came to my side. I was so angry when I saw him. I grabbed him and was about to pluck all his feathers, but he flapped his wings, pointing here and there. What if a powerful immortal cultivator suddenly appeared and killed me with a single sword? I suddenly stopped what I was doing. The words, powerful immortal cultivator, echoed in my mind. Right. This is a world of immortal cultivators. As long as I leave here, and find a few hotheads outside who'll draw their knives at the slightest provocation, a couple of quick slashes could easily kill me. Woohoo. Let's get started quickly. The immortal cultivation world, here I come. Meanwhile, in my little courtyard, Lu Xier looked at the mountain of bowls in shock. Sister Donkey, you're amazing. You managed to eat all the food Master made. I've never seen anyone eat 3 bites of Master's food and not collapse. The donkey, LV Dangchi, was picking his teeth with a toothpick. Sister, I've trained for this. Don't talk about this little bit of food. Even poison that can turn you into blood puddles, I could handle. My sister can just gulp it down without any problem. But what is this crap they're making? It has no flavor and tastes awful. If it weren't for the Master's order not to waste food, I would have flipped the table by now. Li Fengzi rubbed his hands and laughed slyly. But in his heart, he cursed. Stinky donkey. If it weren't for the fact that you're the beloved pet of the great demon, I wouldn't be serving you. As she spoke, she brought over 2 more dishes. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier were already beyond caring. Lu Xier quickly approached the little donkey, trying to please her. Sister, could you tell me what song you were singing the day we met? It was so beautiful. The little donkey proudly took out a fan and a handkerchief. You have good taste, little girl. Let me give you another one, little sister. Saying this, she performed another Arenzuan, a type of folk opera. Lucy's eyes lit up. A 3-leaf mark appeared on her forehead. Specks of golden light gathered on Lucy's forehead. She actually broke through. The music ended. The little donkey looked proud. How was it? Wasn't that Arenzuan beautiful? Lucy looked up in admiration, clapping her hands. Beautiful. So beautiful. Sister Donkey is amazing. Mr. Nya must be even more amazing, right? What kind of person is he, anyway? I'm not at liberty to reveal my master's background, but my master mentioned his past life. I can briefly tell you about it. The little donkey coughed lightly. Every time my master got drunk, he would hold me and say he missed Earth so much. And even if he stayed home, he could instantly know what was happening at the other end of the world through an artifact. If he wanted to go thousands of miles away, he could arrive in the blink of an eye. With just a flick of his finger, he can flatten an area within 100 miles. Hearing this, the 3 of them were already trembling in fear. How powerful is Mr. Nya, really? At this moment, the little donkey suddenly jolted, instantly returning to its original form. It's just that I've come back now. Seeing me return, Lu Xier happily greeted me. I quickly approached Li Crazy, cupped my fists and said, Mr. Li, I have a request. I want to go out and explore, to see and meet various masters. Could you take me with you? This scared Li Crazy. Is this demon about to leave and harm the innocent? Before Li Fengzi could answer, Lucy patted her chest, assuring me it was all right. She said it was all taken care of. Looking back at Li Fengzi, he was squatting in the corner, drawing circles. This devil was about to go out and wreak havoc on the world. I couldn't just stand by and watch. I had to do something for the world. Yao Buhui and the others stepped forward to restrain Li Fengzi. Seeing their master acting strangely, they were a bit concerned. You always taught us before that the most important thing for a person is to be happy. Why do you look unhappy now? Just then, Mr. Nya had a question that needed your help to resolve. He said as he brought Li Fengzi in front of me. I am just an ordinary mortal. I wish to go out and see the scenery on the cultivation path. Unfortunately, I know very little about the outside world. I would like to ask you for help to clear my doubts. Do you know which powerful sects exist in the outside world? Li the Mad silently thought. Is he planning to gather information about the major sects before taking action? But I could redirect the disaster elsewhere. Let him face those people. I'll sit back and reap the benefits. But before that, I need to do something very important. Immediately clutching my waist, I groaned and collapsed to the ground. Sorry, Mr. Nya. I accidentally twisted my waist while cooking. Could I take a day off and leave tomorrow instead? I cursed in my heart, national treasure. This old man's scam is so unconvincing. Even this kind of scam is not worth the effort. I thought to myself, feeling disheartened. But I still bent down and helped the old man up. I unintentionally checked the old man's pulse. Since he's faking an illness, there must be a reason. I'll just turn a blind eye. Night. I sit on the roof, admiring the moon. My heart is filled with mixed emotions. I've been in this small courtyard for 100 years. I was already tired of it. But to my surprise, as I prepare to leave, I find it hard to part with it. Just then, I suddenly notice a suspicious figure. It's actually Li Fengzi. Where is he going at this time of night? Recalling his unusual behavior that day, and knowing he had old injuries, I decided to secretly follow him to prevent any accidents. Black Stone Forest, the outer perimeter of the Red Mist Forbidden Zone. Li Fengzi let out a long breath. Although I encountered the heavenly rebirth, I actually benefited from the misfortune. My hidden injuries were almost completely healed. It's time to retrieve that thing. He immediately sat down and crossed his legs. He began to circulate his true energy. That thing can only be awakened by royal blood. He can only restore his true form first. His aging body turned into specks of golden light. The next moment, his form slowly materialized in the air. The man could only keep risking his life every day to return to Earth. To seek death, you can only find a few people who will draw their blades at the slightest provocation. But I am completely unfamiliar with the world of cultivation. At Yilin Comics. Helpless, I had to ask Crazy Lee for help. At Yilin Comics. However, Crazy Lee sneaked out in the middle of the night. At Yilin Comics. He has an old injury that hasn't healed yet. Helpless, I could only quietly follow him. Crazy Lee arrived at the edge of the red mist forbidden area. He sat down cross-legged. Only the elderly figure transformed into specks of golden light. The next moment, it slowly condenses into a figure in the air. The specks of golden light solidified. Manhwa unexpectedly turned into a silver-haired girl. It turned out she was the last empress of the Heavenly Dynasty, Li Fengzi. Lin Manhwa, 200 years ago. She was ambushed by traitors of the dynasty while investigating the Red Mist Forbidden Zone seal. Manhwa, although she eventually escaped with her life. In the comics, he was seriously injured. He also inadvertently lost the treasure that the imperial dynasty had passed down for thousands of years. With no other choice, he had to use the secret skill, the Heaven Concealing Pulse technique. While temporarily alleviating his injuries, it also concealed his identity and saved his life. But the side effect of this technique transformed him into a decrepit old man. Even his temperament changed drastically. She recalled everything that had happened. It was truly unbecoming of a member of the royal family. But I really have to thank Tian for giving myself acupuncture every day. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to return to my true form. Still, taking care of business is the priority. He then began to silently chant a spell, because he had already sensed that the lost treasure from years ago was nearby. As the spell was chanted, a small mound of earth rose up nearby. Something emitted a golden light. That golden object suddenly flew into the air. Li Yingzi looked at it with joy. Lost for hundreds of years, it's finally found. The imperial family heirloom, the jade Puyu Chong Tong. She immediately leaped to grab it. At that moment, a dark shadow suddenly knocked her away. The treasure, just obtained, slipped from her grasp. It was a moon-devouring wolf, a demonic beast. But I, unfamiliar with the terrain, damn near got lost. Luckily, I followed Li Fengzi's few, precious footprints to here. As soon as I arrived, I heard fighting ahead. Worried about Li Fengzi's safety, I quickened my pace. But what I saw wasn't Li Fengzi. Instead, a woman was facing off against a huge grey wolf. Li Fengzi went up and slapped the big grey wolf. This made the big grey wolf furious. It immediately opened its mouth and lunged at her. But she easily dodged it. Suspended in the air, she formed a hand seal. A sword light instantly struck the big grey wolf's forehead. The big grey wolf fell to the ground, lifeless. Li Fengzi landed with a joyful expression. But just as she landed, her face changed, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out. I watched from the shadows, stunned. This girl was so fierce just now, slapping the big bad wolf in the face. How did she end up vomiting blood now? At that moment, the big bad wolf, who had been silent, suddenly opened its crimson eyes. It looked like the big bad wolf was about to swallow Li Fengzi whole. I couldn't just stand by and watch, so I picked up a small stone and threw it at the wolf. You little mutt, picking on a weak woman, huh? What kind of skill is that? Why don't you try messing with me, your father? But to my surprise, the wolf ignored me. I was also stunned. Is my sarcasm not strong enough? So I took a deep breath, gathering my chi. Come here. Unexpectedly, it actually worked. He turned around and chased after me. This left Li Fengzi completely dumbfounded. Then he immediately fainted. And I was secretly delighted as I ran. This big grey wolf is chasing me. That heroine should have escaped. After that heroine escapes, I'll offer myself as bait to the wolf. Then won't I die smoothly? But this wolf looks fierce and strong. Yet it can't catch me at all. Will you hurry up, you little dog? Meanwhile, not far away, the owl system, the culprit who harmed me, was watching me. The next second, it suddenly transformed into a human form with a poof. It's really hard on my master. To prevent this little dog from falling behind, he deliberately slowed down. At this time, I finally couldn't help but stop, turned around and mocked him. You little bastard, if you're so brave, why don't you bite me to death? That big grey wolf opened its bloody mouth and lunged at me. I spread my arms, face full of expectation. My earth, my home, my air conditioner and my phone. I'm finally coming back. I couldn't help but shout out loud. But I never expected that the big bad wolf was completely wiped out by a single shockwave from me. After waiting for a while and seeing that it didn't die, I opened one eye to check. A classic phrase slipped out of my mouth. Where's my big bad wolf? Why has it disappeared? Could it be that it's gone back to find that woman? What a heartless guy. There's nothing I can do. I could only go back. But I discovered that the woman had actually fainted. I have to say, this young lady is quite beautiful when you look closely. So, while I took off my clothes, I muttered to myself. I should focus on the important matter. After a long while, Li Fengzi, whose clothes I had stripped off, slowly woke up. She was horrified to see she was naked. Oh no. Heroine, you're awake. Let's continue. As I spoke, I grabbed the needle and started poking. But inside, I was still puzzled. Why were his injuries so similar to those of Crazy Li? Could this be a common ailment among cultivators? And Li Fengzi's heart was also unsettled. Seeing that the bandages on me were made from his coat, could I have wrongly accused him? Though I don't know if he saw anything he shouldn't have. Li Fengzi stood up and thanked me. I scratched my head sheepishly. You're welcome, heroine. Get up. It's best not to exert yourself for a while, otherwise, you might worsen your injuries. I see the time is almost up. Just help him take the needle out. We are strangers after all. Why did you save me? Does saving someone need a reason? Li Fengzi seemed a bit embarrassed by my answer. Her face turned slightly red as she stared at me. I didn't expect that back then, thinking of the blood-soaked continent and the stormy winds. He actually took the initiative to save someone. I was so embarrassed by his gaze that I repeatedly backed away. My foot tripped over something. When I bent down to pick it up, I realized it was a piece of jewelry. It must have been dropped by that young lady. I immediately put it in his hand. Hold it tight. Don't lose it again. I didn't expect him to suddenly jump up. He looked down at me from above. I have already engraved today's events in my heart. I have nothing to repay you with, but one day, I will come back to take your life. As soon as the words were spoken, he disappeared in a flash. And I, as if I had heard good news. The words, I will take your life, echoed in my mind. I watched his figure disappear, bidding him farewell with tears in my eyes. It settled then. You better come back and kill me. At night, she still had that charming, confident older sister vibe. But during the day, she turned into a frail old man who's barely 1.5 meters tall. When Li the madman returned, he was so shocked by a call of master that he nearly died on the spot. He looked like a kid caught doing something bad. No regrets. Is there something you need, master? Yao Buhue and Lu Sierra both had angry looks on their faces. I heard from Mr. Nye that you ignored your own injuries, and went out by yourself all night last night. When I saw this situation, it seemed like they were setting me up. I quickly stepped forward to explain. I think Mr. Li must have had something very important to take care of, which is why he went out secretly, and didn't he come back just fine? You don't need to be so angry. Li Fengzi is a smart one too. He was busy, scratching his head and saying, I've been cooped up in the yard for days, so I just went out for a little walk, stretch my muscles. When I heard this, I was really shocked. His injury hasn't healed properly yet. Still, never let your guard down. Saying this, he placed his hand on Li Fengzi's shoulder. His heartbeat was erratic. His pulse was agitated. He must have exercised intensely not long ago. It seemed like he had gotten into a fight with someone, but the area within 100 miles is desolate. Where could he have fought with anyone? Could it be that the older, strong woman from last night was the one who fought with him? Figuring this out, I won't say anything. I waved my hand. Let's hurry up and pack our things to get ready to leave. After all, going out to find someone to kill me is my top priority. Meanwhile, Li Fengzi was sitting lifelessly in a chair, muttering to himself. This child really loves to stick to his principles. Isn't it just that I went out for one night without telling him? He actually scolded himself for a whole hour. While saying that, he fumbled around in his arms. He took out the jade-eyed pendant he retrieved last night. Fortunately, after being nurtured with royal blood, it's usable now. He then placed the jade-eyed pendant on his forehead, and began to circulate his energy. After a flash of golden light, the jade pupil gradually disappeared from his forehead. Li Fengzi, having done all this, secretly observed the busy crowd with his jade pupil. Sheer has advanced twice in the past few days, but her realm is unstable. Buhue is now in the mid-stage of 3 leaves. She has always been steady and meticulous. There's no need to worry about the foundation level, but when they saw me, I was glowing all over. They couldn't even tell my cultivation level. When they tried to look more closely, the golden light almost blinded their eyes. With a scream, they fell to their knees. When the others helped them up, his eyes were constantly filled with tears. It's fine, it's fine. It's just that some sand got in my eyes. At this point, I had finished packing up my things. I told them they could leave any time. Li Fengzi was still unwilling to accept it. Since he couldn't see his realm of power clearly, he decided to see what kind of item he had brought to wreak havoc in the world. The rough jade's double pupils, open. Those ordinary personal items are actually emanating a powerful aura and pressure. Could it be that the pressure in the courtyard before made them seem unremarkable? Now that we're out of the courtyard, they're revealing their true form. This is not good. I must put them away. Thinking this, he fumbled around in his arms. He quickly walked in front of me. Mr. Nye, traveling with so much luggage will be inconvenient. I have a storage ring here, I'll give it to you. But I was puzzled. As a mere mortal, I'm afraid I won't be able to use it. Li Fengzi didn't say anything more. He put it on, directly placing the ring on my ring finger. Even ordinary people can use it. Just silently think, collect, while looking at the things you want to put away. Wow, is it really that magical? Finally, I can travel light. With the luggage problem solved, I feel so relieved. Let's set off on my little donkey. But as we just left, the courtyard suddenly shook. It seems something is about to break through the ground. With bursts of purple chi rising, a figure slowly begins to take shape, and it screams wildly, I am finally free. From this day forward, I will shatter the heavens and dominate all the worlds. As soon as the words left its mouth, a bolt of lightning struck from the sky. In an instant, it struck down on this figure. There was only time for a scream of agony. Then, it slowly dissipated. At this moment, above the sky, the Tao of Heaven's incarnation looked disdainful. Damn, daring to cause trouble right under my nose. What kind of trash are you? Have you ever classified yourself? Before I could finish speaking, I was struck with a loud blow to the head. It was the culprit who brought me to this world. The system owl. What's with the attitude? Did you forget how I taped you up? Oh no, big sis. The matter you entrusted to me. I will definitely handle it properly for you. With me guarding this place. That little trash, me Tion's remaining soul, will definitely not escape. I hope it goes as you said. Otherwise, I'll flay you alive. Speaking of which, big sister, who exactly is that donkey-riding fellow? A person like you is also doing things for him. Upon hearing this, the owl's murderous intent filled the air. Do you think you're in a position to ask about my master's background? Even the mighty incarnation of the heavenly Tao nearly wet his pants. He waved his hand repeatedly. A misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to offend this esteemed person earlier. Now I deeply regret it. So I want to know the origin of that great personage, so I can understand how insignificant I am. Knowing your insignificance means you still have hope. Just keep an eye on this place. And don't let that little trash escape. The master won't blame you. Saying this, with a poof, it transformed back into an owl. Flapping its wings, it flew off into the distance. If something goes wrong with the seal under your eyelids, I'll peel your skin off, leaving only the manifestation of the heavenly Tao, alone and sorrowful. I will not disappoint you. While the heavenly Tao can still suppress that thing, I'll go out and have some fun with my master for a few days. A few days later, I leisurely rode my little donkey. Li Fengzi and the others were leisurely flying on their swords behind me. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier also voiced their doubts. Mr. Nye is so powerful, why does he still insist on walking on the ground, instead of flying with us on swords? It's such a waste of time. Li Fengzi pretended to be deep. You are all too young. Do you know why this continent is called Xianyi continent? On this continent, cultivation is measured by leaves. But what you don't know is, that above that, there are other realms like flowers, fruits, and branches. But the senior experts named this continent after leaves. Firstly, because our cultivation begins with leaves. Secondly, to teach us a lesson. Only by recognizing the narrowness of a leaf, can one understand the vastness of the forest. Only by seeing your radiance, can one understand the height of the moon. Li Fengzi's lecture made Lu Xier feel dizzy and disoriented. But Yao Buhui seemed to understand. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. A vast forest starts with a single leaf. Mr. Nye seems to be walking, but every step is refining his Tao heart. At this moment, I, who knew nothing, turned around and called out to Li the madman. Li the madman flew over on his sword. Mr. Li. I was a bit excited since it was my first time going out. I had no idea where our first stop would be. Are the experts there strong? Our first stop is Sanjiu City. There are experts everywhere. The city lord there has even reached the peak of 7 leaves. And I was also calculating my own little plan in my mind. Since there are experts, they could easily kill me in an instant. If that's the case. So we went to Sanjiu City. After several days, we finally arrived outside Sanjiu City. But looking at this city gate and the almost falling signboard, I seriously doubt there are any real experts here. I ran into a tough opponent as soon as I entered the city. But looking at this city gate and the almost falling signboard, I seriously doubt there are any real experts here. I sighed helplessly. This is a town in the cultivation world. Are you kidding me? Where's the ethereal, immortal aura? Why does it look like this? Yao Buhui and Lu Shier looked around in confusion. This is so different from what Master described. Li Fengzi cleared his throat. Even I haven't been here for 200 years. There will inevitably be some deviations. At this time, I turned back and asked Li Fengzi, is there any story behind this Sanjiu city? Although I don't want to doubt what you said, are there really any experts in this dilapidated place? If the opponent is a weakling, can he still kill me? Li Fengzi gave an awkward smile. Ah, Mr. Nye, the city of Sanjiu may not be as prosperous as you imagined, but the city lord, Jiarani, is indeed a top expert at the 7th Leaf Peak. Moreover, Sanjiu city is located on the fringe of the empire. We will continue moving towards the heart of the empire in the future. I instantly understood what Li the madman meant. If such a powerful expert exists in the outskirts, we will definitely encounter even stronger ones later on. Li Fengzi saw that I hadn't exposed his lie, and nervously wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Thankfully, he didn't doubt my words. If he had turned around and left, how would I have led him to meet his enemy? After hundreds of years, Sanjiu city is still as dilapidated as ever, but the real Sanjiu city is at night. Now, what I need to do is to stir up the conflict between Nye Xiaotian and Jiarani. Let them clash thoroughly. Just then, Lu Xier covered her growling stomach. After traveling all day, she's really hungry. Li Fengzi immediately suggested, let's find a place to rest and grab a bite to eat. By the way, we can inquire about the current situation in Sanjiu city. Saying that, he enthusiastically grabbed my hand. I remember there's a century-old shop nearby. Mr. Nye, let's go experience the local customs of Sanjiu city together. Yao Buhui and the others were also confused by their master's sudden enthusiasm. Why has the master suddenly become so enthusiastic? Is there something he's hiding from us? Scene transition. The little donkey was helplessly tied outside the inn, eating grass. It sighed inwardly. If it weren't for Sister Owl asking me to keep it from Master for now, I really want to turn back into human form and accompany Master inside to eat. Meanwhile, inside the inn, Yao Buhui elegantly wiped the corner of her mouth, while Lu Xier patted her full stomach, looking thoroughly satisfied. I'm full. Although it's not as good as what Brother Nye makes, the taste is still pretty good. The innkeeper rubbed his hands, a professional, forced smile on his face, and walked over. Have you all finished your meal? Which gentleman will be settling the bill? Li the madman is Li the madman after all. Oh dear. I've lived in seclusion in the mountains for so long, I'm terribly short of cash. I cursed inwardly, damn it. This old man wants me to pay, but I don't have any currency from this world. Should I offer myself in return? Work a whole day washing dishes to pay for the meal? Suddenly, Yao Buhui patted her chest. I'll pay for this meal. Mr. Nye has been taking care of us all along. Let us express a bit of gratitude. Li Fengzi was about to say something. He was interrupted by Lu Xier. Master is usually quite stingy, but he has never cut back on our pocket money. We can still afford a meal. How much is it, shopkeeper? 1,000 spirit stones. We were all shocked by the price. Yao Buhui is inherently the type to despise evil. He immediately shouted angrily, are you robbing us? Is one meal really this expensive? Lu Xier also said in a feisty manner, although Master is stingy, he does occasionally take us to a restaurant. This kind of meal would at most cost 3 spirit stones. When the innkeeper heard this, he realized they were trying to dine and dash. He clapped his hands. The door to the shop was instantly pushed open. A burly man walked in. The man at the front shouted, is someone causing trouble here? The shopkeeper hurried forward, bowing and nodding. Captain Go, someone's trying to skip out on the bill. You must uphold justice for me, you shameless scoundrel. You actually falsely accused us. Seeing this, Li Fengzi kept reminding his 2 disciples from behind to say less. But how could Yao Buhui and Lu Xier listen? Li Fengzi had no choice but to secretly activate the Jade Pupil. This patrol team is directly under the city lord's mansion after all. We can't easily offend them. We must shift the blame to Nye Xiaotian. Now I understand. I've fallen into a trap set by a dinner escort ring, and it's connected to the city patrol team. This is the legendary collusion between officials and businessmen. But now, if I just put on a show of arguing with them, I'm sure I can provoke them. If I'm lucky, they might just kill me. I almost could have gotten a beating. Then I would have been seriously injured and died. Thinking of this, I immediately pointed at them and said with a righteous look, this is a black market, and it's a black market with official business collusion. You want me to be the gullible fool? Not happening. The shopkeeper and the captain of the city patrol both smiled when they saw my stance. He's still a guy who values money over his life. He immediately started walking toward me, grabbed my collar. What the hell are you talking about? You dare disturb the order of Sanjiu city? Come with me. Once we get to my turf, It'll be easy for me to deal with you. Then you'll have to obediently give me however much money I demand. And the small pouch on my chest suddenly fell out. As soon as it hit the ground, it emitted a dazzling golden light. It directly blinded their eyes. A casually made glass bead was actually snatched away as a treasure. I, who was trapped in the desolate land for 100 years, encountered a black shop colluding with officials upon entering the cultivation town. Just as the leader was about to beat me up, the glass bead in my arms fell to the ground, and suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light. It almost blinded their eyes. Holy crap, this little bead contains an immense power. Could it be a personal magic treasure of some top-tier big shot? I was just as confused. I casually picked up a glass bead. Damn it, even he didn't realize it could glow when he made it. This scene also made Captain Go break out in a cold sweat. Could this magical artifact be his creation? His legs went weak, and he knelt down. The big shot who could create such a terrifying weapon. And I was actually going to blackmail him. If I'm not careful, I'll get myself killed. His kneeling brought me back to my senses. Offer your own hands directly. No money, but only one life. If you've got the guts, just walk away. I don't believe you dare to kill me. This really scared Captain Go. He shouted, don't come any closer. The two of us were frozen in place. This script is all wrong. Shouldn't you be glaring at me and chasing me away? Why do you look so frightened? Captain Go was also secretly alarmed. This big shot just told me to leave. Could it be that he wants to use this opportunity to enter the cell, and take me down along with it? I can't afford to offend someone like this. I need to find an excuse and slip away immediately. He pointed at the glass beads on the ground, carefully asked me, did you make these beads yourself? Yeah, I made a few for fun when I was bored. Do you really think these things can be exchanged for food? As soon as I finished speaking, he quickly reached out and snatched 2 of my beads. That's right, these 2 beads are enough to cover the cost of food and a fine for bumping into the patrol team. No need to follow us anymore. Disband. As they spoke, they were already outside the inn. We stood there, stunned. What the hell is this? Weren't they supposed to throw me in a black jail? Weren't they supposed to kill me? Now, we can only rely on the innkeeper. I turned to look at him. The city patrol has left. You're not just going to let this go, are you? I didn't expect him to kneel down and start kowtowing. Boss, I was wrong. Your meal is on the house. Your Excellency, please forgive my small mistake. The boss is troubled. If this honorable guest is displeased, wouldn't my little shop be blown up? If you're still not satisfied with the free meal, how about I cover your group's lodging and board? The 3 of them, Master Li and his disciples, were also confused. Although they didn't know what had happened, it seemed that Brother Nya had resolved the issue. Li Fengzi's heart was also racing. He didn't expect that such a small bead contained such terrifying energy. Just one could level half a street. All the plans were ruined. He dejectedly returned to his room. He opened the window and gazed into the distance. Who could understand the pain in his heart? But he was suddenly drawn to the lively scene on the street. Yao Buhui and the others also pushed the door open at this time. Brother Nya, Master said there will be a lantern festival tonight. Would you like to join us and have some fun? I readily agreed. Where there's fun, there's conflict. Finding a patsy to kill themselves at that time wouldn't be a matter of minutes. Then we set off for the lantern festival. Only the little donkey was left, crying alone. At that moment, an owl landed on the little donkey's head. Let's go. Sister, I'll take you to the lantern festival. Sure enough, the true Sanjiu city only comes alive at night. Sword swallowing, fire breathing, spinning plates. It's the same kind of messy work, as expected. It's pretty much the same in any world, but it does have something to it. It's like cultivating immortality. Lucy discovered that Li Fengzi, who had been with them, was gone without a trace. But then, Li Fengzi's roar suddenly came. You're cheating. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier were speechless. Sorry to make you laugh, Mr. Nya. My master just has a gambling addiction, and once he starts, he can't stop. My master is at it again, caught in his gambling habit. He immediately stormed into the casino. When he saw us, he became even more confident. Mr. Nya, you came at the perfect time. This gambling den is openly cheating. Please help me, I beg you. The leader, a man with a small mustache, wasn't concerned at all. He sarcastically replied, Old man, you need to have evidence when you speak. If you're slandering us, I'll have to inform the city patrol and make sure you regret it. Li Fengzi's eyes were already red with anger. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to charge in. I patted him on the shoulder from behind. All right, Mr. Li, calm down. Let me give it a try. The boss with the little mustache laughed as soon as he saw it. Oh, ho, kid, don't say I look down on you. You need money to get on the gambling table. Do you have anything valuable? I immediately took out the glass bead. The innkeeper said this thing is quite valuable. Not sure if it works. Everyone was shocked and immediately exclaimed, a national treasure. This is a good item. One can already feel the presence of the Tao rhythm inside. Good. I'll bet with you. If I lose, I will return all the old man's money. If I win, this bead is mine. I nodded. I'll go all the way with you. At this moment, at the highest point of Sanjia city, a figure and a fierce beast stand side by side. Overlooking the passing crowd, I heard a mysterious expert has come to the city today, not sure if he can be recruited into the demonic faction. One of his subordinates now presents a glass bead. The subordinate obtained this treasure by chance from the patrol squad. Please have a look, City Lord. The City Lord takes the glass bead, quite pleased. I just don't know what the mysterious expert who created this treasure is all about. On the other side of the screen, the little donkey, LV Danchi, has already transformed into a human form. He nervously said to the owl, Sister, are you sure it's okay to bring me out behind the master's back? The master told me not to wander around at the inn. Just don't let him find out, and it'll be fine. The bet has been placed. At this point, I have already won 15 times in a row. The spirit stones are piled up in front of me. The casino owner is sweating profusely. In just a dozen or so rounds, I've won nearly half of the casino's earnings for the year. If the boss finds out, I'll definitely be skinned and dismembered. I can't let this young man leave. You little thief. How dare you cheat right in front of me? You want to die, huh? Yao Buhui and Lu Sierra's sense of justice was once again ignited. Which of your eyes saw Brother Nye cheating? Do the owners of gambling houses want to play dirty? Then they'll have to ask if my sword agrees. The gambling house owner wore a smug look. He's not afraid of a tough approach. He's got someone backing him up. Our boss is the young master of Sanjia City. Hand over all the spirit stones. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Damn, I'm shocked. It's like whatever you want, you get. Sounds like that young master is no saint. If this could anger him, it would definitely get me killed. At that moment, a voice snapped me back to reality. I heard someone is causing trouble here. Let me see which little darling dared to make a scene on my territory. I turned to look at him. He saw me too, almost died on the spot. Damn, how is it this ancestor, the gambling den boss, seeing his own people arrive, also stiffened up. Captain Go, you came just in time. These people are cheating. Please deal with them on the spot and compensate me for my losses. Before Captain Go could speak, I greeted him first. Captain, we just met earlier today. We're old acquaintances. Now I'm committing a second offense. So you can't let me off this time. As soon as I finished speaking, they quickly retreated outside the gambling house. They said to the owner of the gambling house, Sanjiu City is a society governed by law. Do you have any evidence that she was cheating? By this time, a crowd of onlookers had gathered outside. The little donkey and the owl, who had transformed into human form, were among them. The owl looked excited. We need to get closer to eat the melon. And I followed them outside, arguing with reason. I do things alone, and I'll take responsibility alone. If it's inconvenient, just execute me on the spot. If that's not possible, taking me back for punishment is fine too. At that moment, a piercing scream interrupted my speech. It turned out that Lu Sierra was being harassed by an idiot. Everyone was also shocked. Isn't this the young master of the city? This person is indeed Jia Fugue, the young master of Sanjia City. When did such a beautiful older sister come to the city? I want him to be my little wife. Unexpectedly, the young master of Sanjia City is actually an idiot. But this idiot actually opened a gambling house. And he's also a lecher. He directly reached out and touched the long legs in black and white stockings. If I don't get an explanation, this matter won't be over. At this moment, I secretly rejoiced. I didn't expect to run into the young city lord here. A wealthy young master like him. Even if he doesn't kill me, his city lord father would definitely be able to kill me. I waited for the young city lord to speak, while the gambling house owner stepped aside and pointed at me, shouting, "You rebellious commoner! How dare you show disrespect to the young city lord? Aren't you afraid of the Zhu Nine clans?" After scolding me, you turn around and put on a fake smile, accusing others first to the young city lord. Young city lord, please see the truth. It was these people causing trouble at the gambling house. The young city lord patted his chest. Troublemakers must be killed. I can't kill him. Let my father do it. I'm a little helpless watching this scene. Is this young city lord's brain broken or something? His mind is only filled with thoughts of killing. But this is good too. As long as I provoke him a little, he'll definitely be enraged and kill me. Then I coughed twice. Young city lord, you have such a distinguished appearance and extraordinary talent. Saying this, I walked towards the young city lord, and pinched his plump cheeks. If I'm not mistaken, your lordship must be an idiot. This scene shocked everyone. Whoa, this guy really dares to speak. He actually insults the young master in public. Does he want to die? At this moment, I also realized the severity of the situation. I turned to look at Li Fengzi and the others. I signaled for them to leave first. At this moment, the young master suddenly clapped his hands. So you can tell I'm an idiot. You're as smart as my father. You're only the third person besides my father to know this secret. I've decided. You're a talent. From now on, you'll be my little brother. I'll let you have my leftovers, okay? Saying this, he walked to Yao Buhui and Lu Shier. As for you two, just treat me as your little wife, follow me and enjoy the good life. As soon as he finished speaking, he crouched down. He directly reached up to touch their long legs in black and white stockings. This infuriated the two of them. Perverted old man, you shameless jerk. How could I tolerate such behavior? She immediately struck him with a palm chop, knocking him to the ground. At such a young age, you're already behaving badly. Thinking about taking advantage of others is unacceptable. Suddenly, a loud shout came. Who dares to harm my precious son? A man riding a ferocious beast came rushing towards them. Dare to hurt my son? I will flay you alive, dismember you, and expose your remains outside the city gates. I recognize the newcomer. I'm thinking, this must be the city lord of Sanjia City. Crazy Li said he's a 7 leaves expert. Looks like my wish to die will come true. I turned to Crazy Li and winked. Pretend you don't know me and run. Don't worry about me, that's all. He reached down and lifted the unconscious young city lord. Then he ran off. If you don't want your young lord to get hurt, get out of my way. I need to take this idiot out of here now. To avoid harming innocent people, to escape quickly. It's time to let the little donkey show its stuff. He blew a whistle to summon the little donkey. The two who were hiding in the dark and eating melon were also. The owl reacted quickly and kicked the donkey away with one kick. Your master is calling you. Go help quickly. Running away, I was overjoyed to see the little donkey arrive. Donkey sister. I knew you wouldn't stay quietly at the inn. I smelled the fodder you were eating from far away. I just jumped, and landed steadily on the donkey's back. Turning around, I shouted loudly, idiot's father, want your precious son back. Come and get me. Yao Buhui and Lucy looked at me being chased, already unable to contain themselves, drawing their swords to rush to my aid. But they were stopped by Li Fengzi. Mr. Nia led them away to ensure our safety. Don't waste his efforts. With a leap, he kicked out. His foot landed squarely on Captain Go's face. The three of them quickly got into a brawl with the city patrol. On the other side, the city lord's beast was suffering. It was exhausted, panting like a dog. But here I am, riding a donkey backwards, taunting them with words. The city lord's mount looks imposing and powerful, but its speed and stamina aren't great. My donkey is still better. It runs a bit slower. Don't let them fall too far behind so quickly. The city lord and the demon beast behind us immediately seemed like they'd been pumped full of adrenaline. How could a man be called useless? Let the city lord chase after me. So I ran ahead, while they chased me from behind. In no time, I became familiar with the city. This city has gathered a lot of gunpowder materials. I was just doing a service to the people and casually took some materials. I need to add a little something to escalate the situation. The owl, which had been watching me from the sky, was shocked. Master still can't control his overwhelming power. When making things, he unintentionally infuses his power into them. It's done, it's done. After being blown up, there probably won't be a single hair left. Once it's finished, I casually toss it out. The lord in the back looked at the object that had just appeared in front of his eyes, completely stunned. The next second, a mushroom cloud soared into the sky. I'm very satisfied watching this. The materials in the cultivation world are incredibly potent. Ordinary gunpowder can be made into a small atomic bomb. This explosion is so beautiful. The town I just entered in the cultivation world was relentlessly pursued and attacked. With no choice, I could only hastily create a nuke to fight back. Looking at that rising mushroom cloud, I'm very pleased. The materials in the cultivation world are just awesome. The formula for a small bomb can be turned into an atomic bomb. When the smoke clears, all those chasing me will be lying on the ground. Only the Lord of 39 City will be left, covered in wounds, still stunned from the explosion. What kind of treasure is this? It can instantly tear through its own protective aura. If it weren't for my quick reflexes in sacrificing the stone flame beast, I feared I was already dead. No, that small bead deflected most of the blast's force at the last moment. Though I don't know who made that bead. This mysterious expert is someone I absolutely must curry favor with. And seeing him still standing after that explosion, I'm truly impressed. He's certainly a master. It should give me a break. I thought. I would slowly walk towards him, but I didn't expect his reaction to be so intense. He shouted loudly at me, "Thief, you first insulted my son, and then wantonly destroyed my 39 city. Such actions are enough to enrage the 9 heavens." There is still a master stationed in 39 City. You are no match for him. Put down my son. Let's end our grievances here. Otherwise, your head will roll. Saying this, he took out the glass bead. Do you see this bead? This is the creation of that mysterious expert. If you anger that person, you will definitely be reduced to ashes. As for me, I find it amusing. Since the city lord has an expert backing him up, why not try cutting me a few times first? At this moment, I noticed the glowing bead in his hand, which looked very familiar. Isn't this the bead Captain Go took from me earlier? The city lord actually carries it with him. Hearing this, the city lord blurted out a classic Chinese curse word. Whoa, did you make this bead? Seeing his huge reaction, I carefully negotiated with him. You're going to kill me, how about I give you a few more? The city lord's bewildered expression was plain to see. His final trump card, it turned out. That pearl containing vast magical power, was something casually made by her. At this moment, he had lost all faith. He felt all his strength drain away, powerlessly collapsing to the ground. When I saw this, I thought, this won't work. Lord City Master, don't worry, I won't resist. Just press that button. I'll be completely done for. Please, Lord City Master, help me. Who would have thought that such a tough city master would be scared to tears by what I said? Oh my god, I didn't recognize you. My eyes have been blind for 8 lifetimes. I will definitely be a good person from now on. No, a good dog. Please spare my life. This sudden turn of events caught me off guard. You were just so arrogant a moment ago. How did you immediately kneel? I'm just a mortal. Is it appropriate for me to kneel? At this moment, Li Fengzi hurried over and landed behind me. Mr. Li, are you all okay? Li Fengzi pretended to be deep, clearing his throat twice. Don't worry, they're out of danger. But I'm still worried about you. So I came to help. It seems Mr. Nia has already subdued the city lord. This person shouldn't be left alive. I hope Mr. Nia will rid the people of this evil. I was startled. Mr. Li, don't joke. Kill him. I don't have that kind of power. At that moment, a chilling voice suddenly came. Since neither of you intends to take his life, then let us do it for you. I looked towards the source of the voice. Dozens of men in black stood shoulder to shoulder on the rooftops of the surrounding houses. They wore straw hats and black cloths over their faces. They carried a waist token, inscribed with the words Xiantian. The leader, looking down from above, spoke calmly. Jia Rini, you were once favored by the elegant empress of the Xiantian dynasty, ruled over Sanjiu city for 732 years. During that time, he exploited the common people, deceived both above and below. Later, the 9 grand tutors overthrew the dynasty. Empress Fengzi sought aid from Sanjiu city. Not only did you refuse to help, but you also leaked her whereabouts, causing the empress to be besieged by the 9 grand tutors. His whereabouts remain unknown to this day. He disrespects the heavens, fears not the earth. Ahead he betrays his master, behind he deceives the people. I sentence you to the crime of being severed in two. As soon as the words were spoken, the city lord was already slain on the spot, completely falling. I looked at this scene with some regret. What the hell is this plot? I was hoping he'd chop himself to death. The leader then cupped his fist toward me. He thanked me for lending a hand. If there's ever a time you need us, I will not refuse. I had a look of utter despair. Since the city lord was killed by them, I might as well try to see if I can piss off these idiots. Let them kill me too. With that thought, I immediately made an international gesture at them. K your grandmother's leg, killing him in front of me. You're nothing but bandits. And still want me to speak well of you? Ugh, disgusting. Disgusting. Get down here, you bastard. Let me teach you why flowers are so red. One of the men in black immediately reaches for his sword. But the leader stops him. This person is extraordinarily powerful. Don't be impulsive. Then it disappeared with a whoosh. I was fucking speechless. It was just a few insults, wasn't it? After being insulted, shouldn't they have just come down and killed me? But instead, they just ran away. Where's your pride as cultivators? I helplessly looked at old Lee. Mr. Lee, I wonder if you're familiar with this group of mysterious black-clad figures. To explain their origins, we must start with the land beneath our feet. This land once belonged to the Xiantian dynasty. Hundreds of years ago, the 9 grand tutors of the dynasty conspired to overthrow the throne, founding the current Joshuan dynasty. Yet, even a dying creature struggles to die. Over the years, countless forces have risen in rebellion under the banner of the Xiantian dynasty. The black-clad figures we just encountered belong to the Xiantian Blood Alliance. They claim to be led by the royal bloodline of the primordial dynasty. Their goal is to overthrow the 9 Xian dynasty, and restore the primordial dynasty's control over this world. I somewhat understand, but not fully. So, are you saying that they are good people because they represent the primordial dynasty? Li the madman shook his head. They are nothing more than small-time tricksters who put up a false front. They probably don't even understand the true meaning of the term primordial. What does it even mean to plead for a primordial bloodline? I listened to Li Fengzi's words and fell into deep thought. It seems that he must have some connection with the primordial dynasty. Otherwise, he wouldn't show such contempt for those men in black. By the way, the city lord is really useless. Well, just kill me first and then give up. Oh, right. Since those men in black can kill this city lord, my strength is definitely higher than his. As long as I find their base, I'll just cook up a couple of nukes and mess with their minds. Relying on their strength and the dignity of cultivators, they won't let me off again, will they? Thinking to this point, I immediately asked Li Crazy, since you know their origins, they should also know where their base is. I've heard something about it. While waiting for Crazy Li to finish speaking, I excitedly slapped his shoulder. They just ruined my plans. Of course, I need to collect some debt from them. At this moment, Yao Buhui and Lu Xier also rushed over. Crazy Li looked at his two disciples, unharmed. It was a sigh of relief. Mr. Nye plans to leave Sanjiu City. Let's go back and pack up. We will leave with him. Yao Buhui's face was serious. I will follow the master's orders. Lu Xier, on the other hand, was overjoyed. Then a very discordant sound echoed. That sleep was so refreshing. Turns out the idiot young city lord, who was placed on the donkey's back, is awake. The donkey kicked its hoof and sent him flying. He landed right next to his father's body. When he saw his father's condition, he collapsed on his father's body and began crying. Dad, don't sleep anymore. Wake up and play with me. Crazy Li reminded me to leave no survivors. I sighed. This guy already has issues with his mind. He's already dead. Whether he can survive is still a question. At this moment, I was adding insult to injury. That would definitely be a sin. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier saw that I was moved by pity. He shouted loudly, Mr. Nye, you can't afford to be sentimental. Besides, he just now said something that made Lucy blush. I understand what he meant. He pointed and said, if I were Miss Lucy, I'm afraid I would have drawn my sword and killed him on the spot. He has been reckless all these years, because the city lord had his back. Now that the city lord is dead, his fate is easy to predict. The onlookers now all had dark expressions. They picked up the clubs on the ground, and surrounded the young city lord. Watching this scene, I couldn't help but feel deeply moved. The scene shifts, and our group is already on the road again, heading towards the Yuqing Mountain stronghold of the Celestial Blood Alliance. I couldn't help but wonder if the Celestial Blood Alliance was just a bunch of amateurs. Crazy Li repeatedly assured me that this time, there would definitely be experts. I sighed helplessly. I could only temporarily trust him for now. The Yuqing Mountain stronghold is over 100 miles away. It's quite a long journey. It's hard to say there won't be any highway robberies. At this moment, we were stopped by a man who looked like a fallen scholar. Li Crazy and I were both startled at the same time. Is this mouth enchanted? Just finished talking about highway robbery, and now we've run into it directly. 1 second, he was a delicate scholar. The next second, he turned into a coquettish and charming beauty. What's wrong with this immortal cultivation world? Does everyone here know Sun Wukong's 72 transformations? Just now, our group encountered a man who looked like a scholar lying on the ground, blocking our path. After eating all our rations, he thanked us cheerfully. Thank you all. I encountered bandits yesterday. They robbed me of all my money and rations. I've been hungry all day. Li Fengzi and I sat opposite him, our faces dark the whole time. Damn it, he's a reincarnation of a starving ghost. Lucy was also angry. She was about to teach him a lesson. But Yao Buhui stopped her. Senior sister, don't stop me. He ate all our food. I want to beat him to death. But the scholar seemed unconcerned. He came up to me with a fawning expression. I just heard that a few of my life-saving benefactors are heading to Yushan City. Could I come along? I'm very familiar with this area. I can definitely help you avoid danger and find the best route. I quickly waved my hand to decline. It's fate that we met, but let's just go our separate ways. But secretly, I thought, if you were really capable of avoiding misfortune, would you have been robbed? I think you're just looking for a bodyguard. What's more, you were originally looking for someone to kill you. So what's with this talk of avoiding misfortune? I didn't expect the scholar to kneel down and cry, hugging my thigh. Big brother, please, take me with you. I've been running into robbers along the way. I almost had my pants stolen. Please don't leave me behind. I can't help but feel helpless. This guy's making himself sound so pitiful. Direct refusal is not good for face. I still need to find a reason to get rid of him. Then tell me, what can you help us with? The scholar's face lit up. To be honest, sir, my home is in Yushan City. I used to be a merchant, so I know the distribution of power there like the back of my hand. When I heard that, I couldn't help but feel a stir in my thoughts. Let me ask you a question first. Consider it a test for you to join the team. Do you know the strength and influence of the Heavenly Blood Alliance in Yushan City? The scholar was startled when he heard this. He quickly cupped his fists and said, "They are a tough opponent in Baoshan City. Even the city lord has to give them some respect. If you plan to oppose them, I suggest you think twice." I crossed my arms, my expression calm. "You don't need to worry about that. If you tell us the information about the Heavenly Blood Alliance, we can still take you to Yushan City." "Alright. I'll inform you right away. The Innate Blood Alliance. Others only know that they are an organization carrying out the will of the Innate Empire. Their specific hierarchy is the Emperor, 2 saints, 3 generals, 4 gods, 5 demons, 6 messengers. Among them, the Emperor is naturally the graceful Empress." Before he could finish speaking, Li Fengzi rushed forward and fired a lightning cannon. "When did the Empress of Elegance join the Celestial Blood Alliance? Quickly, tell me who's in charge of Yuqing Mountain now." The scholar rubbed the back of his head. "The one stationed at Yushan City is the fire envoy of the 6 envoys. As for his intelligence, I can have someone investigate it in detail after returning to Yushan City. How could I not know his little schemes? The scholar plans to exchange the fire envoy's intelligence for our protection. This deal can only be done. I hope the information you gathered is worth us escorting you." The scholar heard this and cheered. He immediately began to search in his own clothes. "To thank the great hero, I'll help everyone by reading your fortune." Saying this, he took out a silver turtle shell from his clothes. "I'm not bragging. I have understood divination since I was young. I will definitely be able to help everyone." Immediately, he began shaking the turtle shell. Lu Xier, however, mocked him. "If you could really predict the future, would you have been robbed by bandits?" As the turtle shell shook, 3 coins fell out. Everyone curiously looked down at the 3 coins. "What did your divination say?" The scholar put the tortoise shell back into his bosom, a smile on his face. "My divination was about the weather. The hexagram shows clear skies all day long. Not a single." Before he could finish, a torrential downpour began to fall. Inside a mountain cave, everyone was huddled around the campfire, trembling in the cold. I scolded them in frustration. "Your milk is really poisonous, huh? You must be using black magic, right?" Li Fengzi was also irritated. He gritted his teeth and said, "This person is so strange. In my opinion, we should just leave her behind." I began to ponder in my heart. Although this guy is unreliable, it seems he can indeed gather information on the Celestial Blood Alliance. And his bad luck curse is really something. If I have him curse me later, I'll be able to get eliminated smoothly. With that thought, I patted Li Fengzi. "It's not easy for anyone when we're out here. Let's take him with us." Upon hearing me say this, the scholar dashed over, and directly hugged my leg. This great hero, so righteous and kind, a chivalrous soul, handsome and kind-hearted, you're a good person. Nightfall. Our group had already sat down on the ground. Then, with a sudden start, I opened my eyes. I immediately stood up and walked toward the cave entrance. Just as I stepped out of the cave, a figure appeared in front of me. The figure looked up at me and whispered, "How did it go?" The scholar sneered contemptuously. "It seems you still have doubts about my expertise. Don't worry, I have successfully infiltrated their ranks." As he spoke, golden light flickered around him. In the next second, he transformed into a seductive. I just led 2 girls from the cultivation world in a set of calisthenics. I didn't expect that in the next second, they would break through directly. This left the scholar who had been following us dumbfounded. Just now, because of the rain, we had no choice but to take shelter in a cave for the night. But just as we fell asleep, the scholar got up and walked out of the cave. As soon as he stepped out, a figure appeared in front of him. The figure looked up at him and said softly, "How did things go?" The scholar sneered. "It seems you still doubt my expertise. Don't worry, I've successfully infiltrated their ranks." As he spoke, golden light emanated from his body. The next second, he transformed into a charming and alluring female demon. It turned out that this woman was a secret agent of the Xiantian Blood Alliance. The man in black repeatedly instructed the woman. "This target is not simple. It said that the Lord of Sanjiu City was killed with a single move by that young man. We're worried that he could be a threat to the Blood Alliance. That's why we had you get close to them and investigate. Could he be a disciple sent by an ancient sect for training? Don't let your guard down." The woman casually snapped her fingers. "As long as the money's in place, the person I'm investigating will absolutely not escape. And during this time, you should wait patiently for news. Once I've finished my investigation, I will contact you." Saying this, he turned around and intended to return to the cave. The man in black threatened from behind. "Blood Alliance entrusting you with this task is a recognition of you. Don't you dare slack off." The woman casually waved her hand. At that moment, an owl on the large tree behind her witnessed everything. Ignorance truly is fearless. With such little ability, they still want to investigate their master's secrets. If they really anger the master, I bet the master could just wave their hand and scatter them like sand. At this moment, the woman was completely unaware of the owl behind her. She radiated a faint golden light. In the next moment, he turned back into his scholar appearance. But he was being stared at by the owl's murderous gaze. He felt a chill run down his back. He quickly started walking and then ran. It was probably going to rain soon, the temperature was dropping. He had to hurry back and get some sleep. The next morning, I got up early. He started doing the fitness punches used on Earth for exercise. He was also thinking to himself. Yesterday's schedule was delayed because of the rain. He estimated that he would reach Yushan City today. Suddenly, he was interrupted by the scholar who got up. "You're up so early, hero." "Yeah, couldn't sleep well if I stayed up too late. So I got up early to practice some punches to wake myself up. By the way, how much longer until we get to Yuqing Mountain?" "We're almost there. Autumn Village is just ahead. We'll rest at the inn there tonight. We'll head out early tomorrow morning. We'll reach Yushan City before noon." Suddenly, a loud shout came from the cave. It almost scared the scholar to death on the spot. Then, he was knocked to the ground by a figure. It turned out to be Lu Xier, who saw me practicing my punches. She excitedly ran up to me, wanting to learn the moves. When she heard that I could teach her, her eyes instantly sparkled. But she was stopped by Yao Buhui, who had just left the cave. "That must be a secret technique from Mr. Nie's school. That's not good." Lu Xier sighed after hearing that. "Right. I already have a master. I can't join Brother Nie's school to learn boxing anymore." But I smiled and said it was fine. "It's just ordinary fitness boxing. In my hometown, anyone who is willing to learn can be taught." Lu Xier was instantly overjoyed upon hearing this. Yao Buhui was shocked. "Is this just a local fitness martial art?" Li Fengzi also looked confused. "There's a martial art that you can just learn if you want." I continued to explain. "Of course it's real, but we have to keep moving today. We may not have much time. Follow my lead and practice this set of moves. Then we'll set off." Yao Buhui, a little embarrassed, stepped forward and said he wanted to learn too. "Of course, no problem. Let's do it together." So I led them, demonstrating each punch and movement. Li Fengzi and the scholar sat in the distance, watching. As they watched, the scholar looked as if he had seen something unbelievable. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier finished a set of punches. With golden light shining around them, both of them broke through to the early stage of the four-leaf realm. These two girls from the immortal cultivation world just followed me in doing a set of calisthenics. And in the next second, they both broke through. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier were completely immersed in the pleasure brought by their breakthroughs. The scholar standing by watched this scene, his mouth hanging open in shock. They just practiced a bit of boxing. And yet, they easily advanced like this. What exactly did that hero do? Could it be that he's already a 10th leaf expert? Looking at the petals of golden light forming behind me, he again rejected his own idea. This technique is even more powerful than the legendary immortal's divine blessing. A 10th leaf expert definitely couldn't do this. Only someone who has broken through the limit of the leaves can achieve it. Seeing this, Li Fengzi, who was standing nearby, quickly ran over to me. Opportunities like this don't come by twice. I can't afford to waste such an opportunity. Just then, the rush from the breakthrough finally wore off. The two girls, their faces flushed, collapsed on the ground, panting heavily. That gave me quite a shock. "Please don't fake an injury. Mr. Nie's boxing technique is too profound. I can only understand this much. Please don't take offense, sir. I can't go on. It feels so good after the breakthrough. My head is all fuzzy." I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed. Do all cultivators' bodies feel this weak? I'll go prepare breakfast for everyone first. We'll continue after we've eaten. Seeing that we've finished, Li Fengzi knelt on the ground in dejection. He regretted not having practiced along with them. If he'd known that practicing the fist technique once would lead to promotion, what right did he have to act so superior? He felt like he'd missed out on a fortune. After dinner, we continued on our journey. In the afternoon, the scholar in front turned around and pointed ahead. "Mr. Nie, Qiu Yi Zhuang is just ahead." I looked in the direction he was pointing. "You mean those houses down the mountain are Qiu Yi Zhuang? That looks more like a town than a manor." The scholar quickly explained. Qiu Yi Village is built on a mountain. Down below is actually a small town. Qiu Yi Village has existed for over 1,000 years. Known for its chivalry and heroic spirit, it's famous for upholding justice and helping the weak. Over time, it grew to its current size. I looked ahead, lost in thought. The village head must be a master of martial arts, I suppose. Since he's an expert, maybe I can try to see if he can kill me. But from what the scholar described, the lord of the manor seems to be a good person. I shouldn't rush in like a fool and seek death. I don't want to make him bear the false accusation of indiscriminate killing. I'll put the plan to die on hold for now. And on Li Fengzi's side, ever since I knew we were going to autumnal intent manor, you've been looking very worried. Seeing this, Yao Buhui stepped forward and asked with concern, Master, you don't seem well. Are you feeling unwell? Li Fengzi quickly waved his hands. He brushed it off. He let out a quiet sigh in his heart. Back when he was being hunted, Old Master Zhuang from Qiuyi Zhuang stepped forward and blocked part of the pursuers for him. Now, hundreds of years had passed. He had no idea how that old man was doing now. While Li Fengzi was lost in thought, I turned around and waved at him. It's getting late today. Let's rest here for the night. Li Fengzi cupped his hands in agreement. Lu Xier was especially overjoyed, because they could finally eat. As they entered the town, the bustling crowd on the street started discussing. It turns out that in a couple of days, it will be the old Master Qiu's birthday banquet, and the 9 grand tutors of the court even sent congratulatory gifts. Li the madman was astonished at the news. Back then, the 9 grand tutors rebelled. Master Qiu was the first to stand up and support the previous emperor. How could he possibly allow the 9 grand tutors' lackeys to come now? There must be something fishy about this. He must find a chance to see the old master. Night fell. I just found an inn to stay. Then I slipped out alone in a hurry. Meanwhile, inside the Qiu-yi manor, an old man with white hair was sitting in the courtyard drinking wine. In the past, during the reign of the previous emperor, the empire enjoyed peace and prosperity throughout the land. My Qiu-yi manor could also live freely and easily. Unexpectedly, the 9 grand tutors plotted a rebellion. Nowadays, unworthy descendants seek self-preservation, and actually align with the 9 great grand tutors, aiding the tiger. How pitiful, how lamentable. At this moment, a voice was heard. Old Master Qiu, it's been hundreds of years, no word from you. A figure slowly walked forward. Back then, the junior was in trouble. I was fortunate that the old master stepped in to help, allowing me to barely escape with my life. Today, by a stroke of luck, I find myself revisiting this place. Naturally, I must come to pay my respects to the old master. Upon seeing this figure, the old man was immediately shocked. The words, Empress Fengzi, slipped out. He immediately fell to his knees, crying, snot and tears flowing. Your Majesty, the old minister has waited for you so long. The person before you is none other than Li Fengzi, transformed into a woman's form. Li Fengzi steps forward to help the elderly man. Grandfather Qiu, you and my imperial grandfather were sworn brothers. By seniority, I should even call you uncle. And you have done me a great favor in the past. How could I possibly accept such a great gesture from you? Li Fengzi helped the old man to a chair in the study before asking the question that had been on his mind. What exactly have you been through all these years? Why are you so severely injured? The old man sighed. It's a family misfortune. When His Majesty hid in Qiuyi Zhuang, the 9 grand tutors found out. Afterwards, they came looking for trouble under various pretexts. Although I managed to fend off several of them, but in the end, they still grew old. Hearing this, Crazy Li immediately bowed and paid his respects. Grandfather Qiu, your great kindness and your graceful demeanor are unforgettable. The old man, however, waved his hand. Unfortunately, the spirit of my children and nephews has long been broken by the 9 grand tutors. These years, they have been dutiful in serving as watchdogs. Now I have been sidelined and placed under house arrest in this small courtyard. If I ever descend to the underworld, I will have no face to meet the late emperor. As he spoke, he looked around. He waved his hand at the madman Li, then whispered softly, I am already a useless old man, but I have managed to survive this long because I am guarding a secret. This secret concerns the founding of the empire. Please, your majesty, don't disappoint this old minister's sincere intentions. The scene shifts, and Li the madman has transformed into an old man. He sits in the inn, sighing with a troubled expression. This scene leaves us with questions in our hearts. Lu Xier, while eating, asks with concern. Master, what's wrong? Did you eat something bad yesterday and feel unwell? I just can't make sense of some things. You eat yours. It turns out that the old Master Qiu hid a secret treasure in Yushan City. Last night, he already told Li the madman the treasure's location, and now he's struggling with whether to take the treasure and run. But he also can't bear to leave the old master behind to continue suffering. At this moment, I placed a piece of meat in Li's bowl. I could see that Mr. Li's brow was furrowed. It seemed like something was weighing heavily on his mind. Why don't you talk to your junior about it? Perhaps a junior can help alleviate your worries. 1 second ago, he was waving his hand dismissively. The next, he seemed to have thought of something. Seeing my calm and composed demeanor, he decided to tell me anyway. I poured a cup of tea and let Li Fengzi speak slowly. Li Fengzi then recounted the whole thing in detail. Yao Buhui and Lu Shi'er, after listening, expressed that, Master Chiu is a righteous and just man. If it really doesn't work, we'll just break in and rescue the old master. Then we can have Brother Nye treat his injuries. Li Fengzi immediately disagreed. For Chui Manor, we're just like little cats and dogs. They could easily kill us in an instant. Besides, the old master's legs and tendons have been broken for hundreds of years. It's not that easy to heal. I scratched the back of my head. Whether it can be cured or not, we'll have to see after examining it. How can you know it can't be cured without even examining it? I heard from Mr. Li that the old master of Chiu Manor is definitely a good person. My conscience wouldn't allow me to not help when I can. While saying this, he was calculating in his heart. The others in the manor are a bunch of bad guys. Wait until the old manor lord is cured, then we'll find another chance to provoke them. Then my reckless plan will surely succeed. After Li the madman heard my words, he immediately knelt down. Mr. Nye, your great kindness. This old man thanks you on behalf of the old manor lord. Li the madman was also moved by my words. They say people in the demonic path don't get up early unless there's something to gain, but what he just said was completely sincere, with no concealment at all. Could it be that I misunderstood Nye Xiaotian earlier? While I helped the madman Li get up, I said to the scholar, we'll be staying a few days. If you're in a hurry, you can head to Yuqing Mountain first. The scholar quickly said he wasn't in a hurry. Just wait here for you guys. Lu Xiao'er asked me, Brother Nye, we have no connections with Kiwi Iswang. How are we going to get in? In a few days, isn't it the birthday banquet of the old Master Chiu? We just need to prepare and go up the mountain to wish him a happy birthday. These glass beads were casually made by me, but the people of the immortal world treat them as rare and invaluable treasures. I scoffed and said, just these glass beads, as long as I want, I can easily make hundreds of them without any problem. Just now, in order to rescue the former master of Chiu Yizhuang, who was under house arrest, we all decided to sneak in under the guise of a birthday celebration on his feast day, to check the situation out. On the day of the feast, people have been constantly arriving to wish the old patriarch a happy birthday, but there are always some righteous individuals who are upset. The 9 grand tutors, back then, in order to obtain the secret treasure of the heavenly dynasty, didn't hesitate to severely injure the old patriarch. Now they send their subordinates to congratulate him on his birthday. Who knows what their intentions are? Look at that Chiu Zuofei. His own father was crippled. He can actually chat and laugh with his enemies. He sighed as he spoke. Old Master Chiu had a lifetime of fame, yet he raised such a useless son. I'm afraid that in a few years, the entire Chiu Yi Manor will become the lapdogs of the 9 great tutors. As soon as the speaker finished, he was knocked over with a kick. The one who kicked him was Gung, an imperial censor of the 9 Xian dynasty. Scolding haughtily, the grace of the 9 profound dynasty covers the land. It's not something you can casually comment on. Chiu Zuofei, the current master of Autumn Intention Manor, quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. Your Majesty's arrival has brought great honor to Autumn Intention Manor. Today is my father's birthday banquet. Your Majesty shouldn't bother with these commoners. But the censor wasn't appeased. He kicked him again hard. It's the old village chief's birthday banquet today. It's not appropriate to see blood. I'll settle the score with you after today. Seeing this scene while I was in line, an idea struck me. I'll go. A person who draws their sword at the slightest disagreement. I finally found him. This inspector looks like a real villain. If I run into him, I might just provoke him a little. Who knows, my reckless plan might actually succeed. Finally, it's our turn. But a butler-like person stopped us. Who are you? What gift did you bring? Li Fengzi just lifted a corner of the box, and the box emitted a dazzling golden light. We are just casual cultivators. We heard about the old master's birthday feast, and specially prepared a small gift to congratulate him. When the steward saw the contents of the box, my eyes almost popped out. This is the sea breeze pearl we obtained from the 100-year-old clam spirit. We hope you can do us a favor, sir. Saying this, they took out a pearl and placed it into the steward's hand. The steward immediately tucked the pearl into his bosom. As we entered, Yao Buhui and Lu Xiao'er were still fuming with indignation. Sending such a pearl to a lackey like this is truly not worth it. I casually responded that it didn't matter to me. You can't catch a wolf without losing a child. And with these glass beads, if I want to, I can easily make hundreds of them without any problem. The 2 girls were immediately won over by my generosity. On the other side of the scene, the owner of Chui Manor was attentively serving the imperial censor. The imperial inspector took the tea with a look of enjoyment. I wonder if you've heard that secret. The 9 grand tutors have spoken. Their patience has its limits. They wouldn't mind if Chui Manor became history. Chiu Zuofei broke into a cold sweat upon hearing this. Give me a little more time. I will definitely find the whereabouts of the heavenly treasure. Just then, the butler rushed in, startled, holding the glass bead I gave him. Young master, a few wandering cultivators just offered the blue sea tide-forming beads. I noticed these beads were extraordinary, so I came to report. Xiao Zuofei casually took one out. I'm so shocked, I can't close my mouth. Wow, this bead contains pure spiritual energy. If I can completely absorb the spiritual energy in the bead, I'll definitely be able to advance several levels. Did they only send a bag? Indeed, it's a bag. Although they said a bag, he drew the number 2 with his finger. Xiao Yifei immediately understood. It seems the butler isn't a fool after all. He then took the treasure and presented it to the censor. I hope the esteemed censor can grant me a little more time. The censor casually took out a pearl and inspected it. The next moment, his expression changed dramatically. Based on the information, Jiaorani was defeated by the owner of this bead. Ho Cha was killed by the Celestial Blood Alliance. I didn't expect the mastermind to walk right into the trap. Today, I'll make sure he never returns. In Chewy Manor's banquet hall, the guests were in full attendance. Lu Xier, the glutton, couldn't wait and wanted to eat first. But she was ruthlessly slapped by Li Fengzi. You, child, daring to eat anything casually. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that several experts are secretly watching us. And those people by the door are obviously experts disguised as servants. It seems Qiu Zuofei has already taken precautions against us. Meanwhile, I am scanning the surroundings, familiarizing myself with the environment. Then, I quietly whispered to the 3 of them. Mr. Li, you should be familiar with the layout of Chewy Manor. Wait for a moment. The 2 girls, Buhuixi and I, will lead them away. Take advantage of the chaos to leave and rescue the old master. At that moment, someone finally couldn't hold back and walked towards us. Without saying a word, they raised their hand and attacked me directly. As I watched that huge fist coming closer, I felt a surge of joy in my heart. It's finally here. No words, just drawing the sword. This is what a cultivator's daily routine looks like. Only a loud bang was heard. The big man flew out. The one who made the move. Wait, it was Yao Buhui who kicked him. This scene shocked everyone present. Are you kidding me? A little girl kicked a 5-leaf warrior flying with one blow. How did she do that? Yet, Yao Buhui bowed to me. Buhui simply can't stand anyone being disrespectful to the teacher. Please forgive her, teacher. I was left speechless. I forced an awkward smile. Thanks to Miss Buhui for helping me out. At this moment, the butler, hearing the noise, hurried over. He shouted at us. These people are disrupting the old master's birthday banquet. Please, someone, help me capture them. In the immortal cultivation world, there are still a few people with true grit. They clenched their fists and were ready to make a move on us. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier were also unafraid. Get ready, we're about to go all out. The fist techniques that Brother Nye taught us are no joke. Li Fengzi noticed the posture and began to worry about his 2 disciples. I quickly reminded him to hurry and find the old clan leader. Li Fengzi understood the urgency. He turned and left. Please take good care of my 2 disciples, Mr. Nye. As he spoke, Yao Buhui and Lu Xier had already engaged in battle. After a moment, Yao Buhui and Lu Xier stood on either side of me. I sat in the chair inside, and then just lay down. Can someone this weak even be called a cultivator? That person. Aren't you being unreasonable? They were the ones who were looking for trouble. Not only did you not stop them, you even let them besiege us. The steward was so frightened by what he saw that his whole body trembled. This is your private feud. We have no right to interfere. The main responsibility for this incident lies with us at Chewy Manor for being slow to react, everyone. To show our apologies, we offer you Chewy Manor's treasured fine wine. He handed me the drink while saying that. I just smelled it, and I could tell there was something wrong with it. It smelled like cockscomb red. I was left speechless. But this is the world of cultivation. Poisoning someone with cockscomb red? It's so unoriginal. I accidentally caught a glimpse of a plate of beef liver on the table. And the antidote is right there on the table. Spicy beef liver. Are these people out of their minds? Without hesitation, they started eating the beef liver. I haven't had a meal yet, so is it too much to have something to snack on before drinking? Then, with a relaxed expression, I downed the drink. And immediately let out a small burp. What I didn't expect was, but the exhaled gas is highly toxic. It caused all the servants in front of me to fall immediately. Who dares to cause trouble in my Chewy Manor? A thunderous shout echoed throughout the entire hall. The current master of Chewy Manor was surrounded by a powerful aura of true energy. He floated high in the air. It seems you all are intentionally causing trouble. Then don't blame me for being merciless. At this moment, in a remote room, the old patriarch was puzzled by the sudden disturbance. In the next moment, Li Fengzi, who had transformed into a woman, suddenly appeared in front of him. Grandfather Qiu, I am here to help you escape. Just as Li Fengzi finished speaking, a figure holding a sword suddenly appeared. A tremendous aura radiated from his body. I already knew you would try to take advantage of the chaos to rescue this old bastard. I've been waiting here for a long time. Today, I will capture the remaining remnants of the innate blood alliance. To rescue the old master who's been under house arrest. We planned to find an opportunity during his birthday banquet. We didn't expect to be discovered. The current master of Chui Manor was enveloped in a powerful true chi. He floats high in the air, looking down at us. You barged into Chui Manor to rescue that old scoundrel. Yao Buhui looked at the master of Chui Manor, suspended in mid-air, his teeth clenched tightly. His strength seems to be around 7 leaves. We mustn't underestimate him. He's 1 leaf weaker than the previous lord of Sanjia City. But why does his momentum feel stronger than that city's lord? How dare he compare himself to Jiareni and this manor's lord? In this battle, you are doomed to die a miserable death. I must admit, even I feel a little uneasy watching this. This momentum is definitely stronger than that city lord who only knows how to chase after his own beast. But his cultivation is clearly not higher than that city lord's. What exactly is going on? Then, the master of the manor shouted loudly. The autumn wind howled as the formation activated. I saw runes lighting up around him as the center, forming an energy vortex. Seeing this scene, Yao Buhui finally remembered something. His master had mentioned this autumn wind desolate formation before. For forces that have been rooted in a place for many years like this, they will use formations to harness the power of the earth's veins to enhance their strength. I was also shocked when I heard that. Damn, if that's the case, his strength is more than just 7 leaves. That's right, but once the formation is activated, his strength will increase several times. The next moment, the manor lord burst into laughter. Only now did he realize he was too late. Yao Buhui and Lucier, the 2 young ladies, drew their swords and attacked the manor lord. Hold him off first. Mr. Nia, please try to find a way to break the formation. The master of the manor's killing intent grew even stronger. You think you can break the formation with just you? At this moment, Li Fengzi had already started fighting the censor, but she was struck back by the censor's punch, sending her flying several meters. The old master knew he was just a burden. He pleaded with Li Fengzi to leave him behind. The censor also learned during their conversation that Li Fengzi was the Empress Fengzi, who had been missing for hundreds of years, and his heart filled with joy. If I kill her, I'll definitely earn the favor of the 9 grand tutors. Immediately, he drew his knife and charged at Li Fengzi. Li Fengzi didn't dare to hesitate either. You want my head? We'll see if you're capable of it. With one hand, she formed a seal. A surge of golden energy met him head-on. The energy of color surged forth. The scene changed. The Qiu Yizhuang Manor Lord caught the incoming sword point with one hand. With his other hand, he punched Lu Xie, sending him flying several meters. Those girls are indeed quite capable, but ultimately, they are only 4 leaf. In the face of absolute strength, they cannot change the course of the battle. Yao Buhui gritted his silver teeth tightly. Blood dripped from Cici's mouth corner. How would I know without trying? As he spoke, the sword in his hand instantly shattered into countless fragments. They rushed toward the master of the manor. Unexpectedly, they were all repelled by a powerful surge of true energy. I was also getting anxious. I casually took something out of my storage ring. I threw it at the manor lord. Damn you, son. Take this. The manor lord's full-powered strike landed squarely on the large iron pot I'd thrown. The Qiu Yi manor lord's full-powered strike landed entirely on the large iron pot I threw. The next second, he was sent flying by the force of the pot. I was shocked by what I saw. This iron pot really has a problem. I wasn't struck dead by the heavenly tribulation at the time, nor was I chopped to death by Yao Buhui. It must be because of this pot. I looked at the big hole smashed in the roof, and silently thought, this is bad. I called out to Yao Buhui and Lu Xie and chased after them outside. Hurry, let's catch up and see. If we can strike, let's strike. Don't let him recover and turn the tables on us. Crazy Li is currently locked in a standoff with the censor. It looks like he's about to lose. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. The censor was hit squarely by something. As the smoke cleared, it turned out to be the Autumn Manor's master, his body crackling with electric sparks, lying motionless on the censor's body. This scene also shocked Li Fengzi and the old owner. The old man thought to himself, there are truly many experts around His Majesty. At this moment, we had been chasing the owner who had flown out and just arrived. It was Li Fengzi, now in a female form. Seeing me, she was sweating profusely. I was a bit surprised to see her as well. I didn't expect to run into you here, heroine. Yao Buhui leaned in and quietly asked me, who is this lady? This is just a friend I knew before. But I also had some doubts in my mind. Why does the heroine only appear when Mr. Lee isn't around? Could they be the same person? He immediately cupped his hands and asked. Surely, you are the old Master Chiu, right? We are here at the request of our companion to rescue you. May I ask who this young lady is? He turned his head and desperately tried to signal the old master with his eyes. The old master understood. This young lady is just the child of an old friend of mine. I heard that I have been trapped for many years. You specially came to rescue me. As Li Fengzi gently lowered the old village master, she said, I have long heard that old village master Chiu has been shamed by his unfilial son, so I plan to come to rescue him. It seems that you all share the same intention as I do. Yao Buhui cupped his hands. So this sister is also one of us. May I ask your name, sister? Have you ever seen my master, Li the madman? When I was searching for the old manor lord just now, I happened to see an elderly man fighting with several servants. I presume he's the master you're talking about. Having said that, he flew off the ground and escaped like he was running for his life. I was completely dumbfounded. The last time I found him, he said that next time we meet, he'd take my life. Why did he just leave? Watching Li Fengzi leave, Yao Buhui was also somewhat puzzled. Why did it feel so familiar and comforting? Solve it beforehand. We quickly bound the two of them up like Zongzi. I also calmed myself down to take the old master's pulse. It didn't take long. Crazy Li is right at the door. Have you rescued the old master yet? The two disciples immediately stepped forward and asked. Where have you been? Why didn't you say anything? Also, did you fight with someone? Did you get injured? Li Fengzi nervously raised his head. It's just that I took care of a few petty criminals. I spent quite a while to find this place. Mr. Nia examined and treated the old landlord. How did it go? It's nothing serious. It's just a blockage in the meridians. There's no problem with him getting back on his feet. As for restoring his abilities, I can't guarantee that. Upon hearing this, Li Fengzi's face showed a look of disappointment. Fine. Let's first help Grandpa Chiu regain his mobility. At worst, I'll take care of him in his old age. It's amazing that traditional cupping therapy has such a miraculous effect in the cultivation world. It directly turned an almost crippled old man into a lively, energetic one again. Just now, our group rescued the old master of Chiui Manor, but his cultivation was destroyed hundreds of years ago. I could only take out my most treasured item to attempt to treat him. The old master of Chiui Manor has had blocked veins for many years, and his chi and blood have almost stagnated. He needs both literary and martial fires to restore vitality to his veins. First, I lit the medicinal wine to activate the flow. It quickly awakened the old master's internal meridians at the same time. It can also quickly rejuvenate him. Next is the fiery heat. Gentle heat awakens the meridians, fiery heat unblocks the channels. Where there is pain, there is blockage. Where there is no pain, the flow is unimpeded. At this moment, the three disciples of Li Fengzi, who were watching, had already become immersed in the fragrance of the medicinal wine. As my hand pressed and patted on the old master's back, the old master directly spat out a mouthful of aged blood. I was also tired, and wiped the sweat from my forehead. Unexpectedly, I turned around and was startled. Li the madman and his two disciples were lying on the ground, their faces flushed. Clearly, they were immersed in the thrill of their breakthrough. The next second, an even more shocking scene appeared. The old manor lord was seen suspended high in midair, radiating dazzling golden light all around him. He had actually broken through Ye's restriction. He became a master of the first-level realm. A moment later, his body fell in front of his unfilial son. For these past years, I've been severely injured and unable to move. You took advantage of this opportunity to not only imprison me but also seize all the power. I won't hold that against you. But you have bent the knee to the Joshuan Empire, oppressing the common people of the mountain. Even if you're my own son, I can't spare you. Saying that, a pair of large hands reached for his son. The scene shifts. The four of us were sitting together, eating. The old master of the manor asked if he was really okay handling the manor's affairs. Don't worry. Before getting injured, the old owner was a powerful figure. Handling such small matters is a piece of cake for him. While we were talking, Yao Buhui was quietly deep in thought. It was clearly her first time meeting that woman, but for some reason, she felt like she'd seen her before. And it seemed like it was when she was very young. Senior, are you not feeling well? Should I finish your food for you? Saying that, she quickly devoured the food. Yao Buhui was left staring, stunned. Just as there was only one last piece of meat left, Lu Xier's chopsticks were blocked. Xier, I was just lost in thought. I never said I didn't want to eat. But if the dishes get cold, they won't taste as good. If you have no appetite, don't waste it. The two of them were stuck in a stalemate. Li Fengzi felt a pang of sorrow in his heart. These two children had been following him for a long time and hadn't had such a rich meal in ages. Today, they finally got to eat like this. It's inevitable that some reasonable competition would arise. Let them practice a little with each other. The next moment, the piece of meat was flicked away. Yao Buhui reacted a little faster. He jumped high and securely caught the piece of meat. In a moment of panic, Lu Xie reached out and grabbed onto Yao Buhui's collar. Yao Buhui was in midair. Her balance immediately became unstable. She was directly pulled down by Lu Xie. Unexpectedly, she landed right on top of me. By an ironic twist of fate, her large, distinctly female features landed right on my face. That Miss Buhui. Would you mind getting off? I'm a bit out of breath. Yao Buhui hurriedly stood up, her face flushed with embarrassment. Sorry, Mr. Nye. I was being rude. I feel so embarrassed, she scratched her head. As long as the young lady isn't injured, that's good. At that moment, old Master Zhuang hurriedly arrived. I have just finished dealing with the trivial matters in the manor. I apologize for not being able to greet you properly. You have just recovered from your old injuries. Rest is your top priority now. The old man slapped his chest loudly. Thanks to your treatment, my long-standing ailment has completely faded away. My strength has also improved considerably. A great favor, no need for thanks. If there's ever a need for Chiui Manor in the future, I would not hesitate to go through fire and water. I kept waving my hands. If the old manor owner is also willing to help me die, I would be very grateful. I heard it was Daoist Li who made the request. That's why Mr. Nye took action. I thank you, Daoist friend. Crazy Li also politely cupped his hands. In the next moment, two pupils appeared in his eyes. The old sect leader was stunned, his face pale with shock. This is the Jade Eye, a power that can only be activated by those with an innate royal bloodline. Could he be His Majesty? He immediately knelt down. Friend, I am deeply grateful. Please allow me to bow before you. Your Majesty, you've been in hiding for so long, now making a comeback. He must have found strong reinforcements capable of defeating the 9 great Taifu. Could it be this Mr. Nye? Thinking of this, he gave me a respectful bow. I couldn't bear such an act. I quickly helped the old master up. Do you have any information about the Innate Blood Alliance's base on Yuqing Mountain? The Heavenly Blood Alliance seems to be holding a martial arts tournament at Yuqing Mountain. Even the 9 Grand Tutors have been alerted. Li Fengzi is shocked. Could it be that the Heavenly Blood Alliance plans to sever ties with the 9 Xian dynasty and engage in a life-or-death duel? No, that's not it. The Heavenly Blood Alliance has announced that the winner of the tournament will receive the Heavenly Royal Family's secret treasure, the Tide Sea Pearl Pendant. Master, do you know what the Tide Sea Pearl Pendant is? Many years ago, the ancestors of the innate bloodline suppressed the demons, and established the innate dynasty. They passed down 4 magical treasures, including the Tide Sea Pearl Pendant. Legend says that these treasures, when used individually, are nothing remarkable, but if they are gathered together, and driven by the innate bloodline, its power is enough to destroy the world. The unfortunate thing is, the 9 Grand Tutors conspired to seize the innate power. The 4 great secret treasures have also disappeared without a trace. Now, the Innate Blood Alliance is making waves. I have a feeling there's a conspiracy behind it. They must be trying to hook a big fish, which is why they're using it as a prize. I had just finished speaking. The old Manor Lord suddenly knelt down again with a thud. What the heck? Old Manor Lord, what are you doing? I have a request. The 9th Grand Tutor is currently on his way to Jade Mountain. Please, Mr. Nye, lend me your assistance. Retrieve the Tide Sea Orb for me. You just gave an old man, half dead and useless, a single cupping treatment. Unexpectedly, the old man became full of energy and perked up again. The next second, he knelt down. He begged me to help him retrieve the Chow Hai Pearl Pendant. I'm someone with a kind heart, so I agreed. This made the old man so moved, he almost cried. Xiaoyizhuang just happens to have a spring of water. It can help practitioners unblock their meridians and smooth their energy flow. You too might want to give it a try. This will get the two of you, who love cleanliness, extremely excited. After a long and tiring journey, you can finally have a proper bath. In the outdoor hot spring behind the mountain, I was feeling melancholic. I had spent 100 years reading books in this space. How did I suddenly acquire cultivation? If that's really the case, what level am I at? What kind of expert do I need to find to easily get rid of it? Since I haven't encountered the antagonist yet, I should test my strength now. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lu Xie is crouching on the wall, secretly watching me. Yao Buhui looks at her, confused. What are you doing? I just heard some noise from Brother Nye's side. I want to see what's going on. Don't worry. With Mr. Nye's strength, nothing will go wrong. No sooner had he finished speaking than a shockwave sent him flying. Damn it. I was also startled by the noise I caused myself. It's over. The old shopkeeper wouldn't make me pay, right? Out of the corner of my eye, it seemed like I saw something. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier were both looking at me with bashful expressions. I was so stunned by this endless spring scene that my jaw almost dropped. This also earned me a deafening scream from the two young ladies. 2 streams of blood shot out right into my nose. Over here. Li Fengzi and the old shopkeeper were having a late-night chat. If it weren't for Nye Xiaotian, I'm afraid we'd all be done for today. By the way, I wonder if you still have any imperial edicts from the Celestial Empire in your possession. Your Majesty, are you going to issue an edict to us old ministers? In your capacity as the Empress of Fengzi, this is the last edict I issue in the name of the Empress of Fengzi. Once the time is right, then I will announce to the world that Bu Hui is my sister's biological child. He will be the next emperor of our celestial dynasty. The next morning, we bid farewell to the old villa master, but the old villa master presented me with a precious gift. I accepted it with a smile, but felt uneasy inside. I was still thinking of sending a death letter. You send me a life-saving tool, not a damn string. At the inn, the scholar waited for a whole day and night. He was already anxious. They wouldn't have fallen at Shui Manor, right? Suddenly, Lu Xier's voice was heard. Donkey sister, we're back. After everything was packed, our group headed towards Yushan City again. I took out a needle and thread to repair the treasure the old owner had given me. Although I had no use for it myself, being a perfectionist, I couldn't stand seeing the worn-out state and had to fix it. After repairing it, I casually tossed it to Li Fengzi. I have no use for this. Take a look and see which of the 2 girls is suitable to send to them. Li the madman, having taken the Qihuang soft armor, activated his double pupils to examine it closely. The next moment, it almost blinded him. He rolled around with his eyes wide open. I didn't expect that after my adjustments, the Qihuang soft armor underwent a huge transformation. The defensive and rebound formations inside have been greatly enhanced. It even has an added automatic cleaning function. Li Fengzi looked at me with lingering fear. Did he really give us this treasure? I smiled. Of course. I don't need it. It's more suitable for you. Then Li Fengzi handed the Qihuang soft armor to Lu Xier. Your senior sister already has the Liha sword. And you don't have a suitable treasure yet. I'll give you this soft armor. But this soft armor is no ordinary item. You should find a place to recognize its master first. A moment later, I was blindfolded and sitting in a cave. Recognizing the master may require Mr. Nye's power, but there is a difference between men and women. Please bear with me, Mr. Nye. Wow, is this the proper method for making the armor recognize its master? Alright, Sheer. Let's have the soft armor recognize its master now. Close your eyes and focus your mind. Let your spiritual energy resonate with the soft armor. The soft armor emitted bursts of spiritual light. It turned into a shadow and reflected on Lu Xier's body. But Lu Xier seemed to be in great pain. The soft armor's grade is too high. It doesn't accept Lu Xier's control. It's going to backfire on her. Li Fengzi saw this and immediately pushed me out. Xier's spiritual energy is insufficient to suppress the soft armor. Please inject your energy into her body. Help her reclaim the treasure. We've never done this before. This isn't like those cultivation novels where you transfer energy through your palm. He pressed both hands directly against Lu Xier's back. All they heard was Lu Xier letting out a groan. Yao Buhui and Li Fengzi were left speechless. The next moment, the soft armor's spirit slowly formed in the air. Just a second ago, it was a domineering, confident spirit. The next moment, with a soft sound, she turned into a cute little baby. Just now, I gave the mended Qihuang soft armor to Lu Xier. When the spiritual energy recognized its master, because the armor's grade was too high, it wouldn't accept Lu Xier's control. I had to step in to help. I watched as the spirit of the soft armor slowly gathered in the air. Then it started to circle wildly around me and Lu Xier. Both of us were baffled by this scene. What's going on? How did this girl come out of the soft armor? In the next moment, the spirit girl came up to us. She opened her mouth and called us all Mom and Dad. What the heck? What are you shouting about? You can't just randomly call someone Mom or Dad. All you hear is a puff sound. The spirit that was originally a mature, dignified woman, suddenly turned into a cute, little girl. Then she immediately started falling toward the ground. Lu Xier couldn't bear to watch. She rushed forward and caught her. The little one lying in Lu Xier's arms was still calling out for Mama. This made Lu Xier blush bright red. I'm not your mama. To be a mama, you'd have to do that. But Brother Nye is such a good person. Maybe being with him wouldn't be so bad. Just as Lu Xier was still mumbling to herself, Li Fengzi coughed twice. It seems the Qihuang soft armor has successfully recognized its master. I quickly stepped forward to ask my questions. What's going on? Why did this little thing suddenly call us Mom and Dad? This isn't so inexplicable when you think about it. When Mr. Nye repaired the armor before, the spirit also came into being. Then, Sheer infused it with spiritual energy. This also caused the sleeping weapon spirit to wake up. So, the weapon spirit contains the spiritual energy of both of you. After recognizing its master, it transforms into an infant state. So, from the perspective of the base species, the three of you are indeed the parents of the weapon spirit. I secretly groaned inside. Can someone really become a father in the world of cultivating immortals? Lu Xier also has her own unspoken troubles. She's still a young girl. How did she become a mother? At this moment, the scholar hiding nearby was curious. It's so lively, but he doesn't know what they're doing. But it looks like their issue has been resolved. They should be leaving soon. At this moment, in Yushan City, Puff. The man in charge received the scholar's intelligence. The Blood Alliance conference is approaching, there must be no mishaps. It is suggested to use all forces to eliminate that young man. The scholar's divine thought separated and took shape. You want to kill him without even hearing the full intelligence. I happen to have some new information here. After you hear it, if you still plan to seek death, you're free to do so. Did you separate your divine sense just to tell us this unimportant stuff? I simply wanted to mock you. Otherwise, I always feel something is missing. If it were only you few, you should just go to bed. That Nye Xiaoyan is exceptionally strong. The three people beside him have improved their cultivation realm by a whole level in just one day. Not only did it heal the old master's old injuries, but it also helped her advance to the level of a flower master. Alright, this clone should dissipate now. They'll probably arrive at Yushan City in about half a day. I suggest you prepare well, otherwise you'll end up suffering terribly. The man in charge looks like he's facing a great enemy. Immediately order support from the Grand Alliance. Contact Fire Venerable. Don't alert the snake. A top-tier expert. He broke through his centuries-long bottleneck. That boy could easily help that old fellow achieve it. Why is such an expert merely a loose cultivator and not someone from my Blood Alliance? The scholar who's been lurking beside me for many days finally couldn't hold back any longer. She revealed her true form and used seductive tactics on me. I didn't expect my primal instincts to kick in, and I turned the tables with a counterattack. On that day, our group finally arrived at Yushan City. The prize for the martial arts tournament organized by the Celestial Blood Alliance was too tempting. It had already attracted the attention of neighboring countries. Masters from surrounding countries would also be participating in this tournament. In addition, a treasure-filled ancient site outside the city was also open to the public. It's just that the ruins are dangerous. Few people return. I secretly rejoiced. If the Blood Alliance can't manage to kill me, I'll go explore the ruins. As it was getting late, I had to find an inn to stay for the night. I took out the glass bead I made casually and threw it to the scholar. I rushed out too quickly. I didn't bring any cash. See how much this can be worth. I knew these glass beads were valuable, but I didn't know exactly how much. Let this fool help me test the waters. The scholar carefully examined the glass beads. The next moment, a scream was heard. My eyes were dazzled. A moment later, I was lying on the large bed in the luxury room of the inn. A thought suddenly flashed through my mind. A single glass bead can be exchanged for so much money. If I expand the sales channels here, I probably won't be able to spend all the wealth in my next life. By then, I'd have money and food. I could focus on martial arts, become a powerful martial artist. Originally, going back to take the college entrance exam was to achieve a goal, but isn't completing it in this cultivation world even better? It's just that after 100 years have passed, I do miss my parents a little. I wonder if they miss me too. They probably don't. It should have only been about an hour over there. If the experts here can take me out, I'll be at peace and head home. If I can't die, I'll just keep hanging around here. That's still a way to reach the peak of life. Just as I was rambling, the scholar had already revealed his true form. He was standing outside the door, scheming to himself. This kid clearly has no idea how dangerous the world can be. As long as I offer him a little benefit, I'm sure he could even recite the family tree for me. Who knows, I might even make a tidy profit. He immediately knocked on the door and bowed to me. A distinguished guest has arrived. Our apologies for the poor reception. I'll have the servant prepare a bath for the esteemed guest. I was stunned as I looked at his enormous personal belongings. Damn. Does this shop offer some special service? Are you dissatisfied with me? If that's the case, the shopkeeper will definitely sell me off. I still have an 800-year-old grandmother to take care of at home. I also can't stand to see girls cry. I can only let her in for now. Sitting in the tub, I couldn't help but feel helpless. Is it that this inn is improper, or am I the one being improper? The service is surprisingly thorough. I always feel like that girl is a bit strange. Just as I was resting my eyes, the girl walked over wearing only a thin veil. If the water temperature is right, I can help you with your back. She was waiting for my reply. I have already stepped into the bath. I can't hold back. I've been single for 100 years, you know. If I lose control, don't blame me. The inn's motto is, make guests feel at home. As long as the guest speaks up, I'll do whatever it takes, and I'll make sure the guest is fully satisfied. I chuckled. You're willing to do anything, right? Then let's practice. I picked up the towel, and swung it in my hand. Aren't you willing to do anything? Come on, catch this, LG. Before, it was always just me. I've never really fought anyone before. After saying that, I focused my energy. With one move, I reached out to grab her with my dragon claw. The girl quickly dodged. Because of the big movement, her thin veil accidentally slipped off. I directly grabbed that soft spot. The shy girl turned bright red. I was also bleeding from my nose. Then, I slapped her and sent her flying. Only then did the girl finally react. Did you see through me from the start? I noticed everything from the very beginning. But your acting was really on point. If my self-control were a little weaker, I really wouldn't have been able to hold back. But it was your overly convincing acting that gave you away. You said you were a virtuous girl with an elderly person to support at home. But you weren't the least bit shy when you were bathing with me. That kind of acting suggests you're a seasoned offender. If I'm not mistaken, you're a blood covenant spy, aren't you? The girl, having been exposed, no longer bothered to hide it. She chuckled lightly. The mountains and rivers will meet again. We'll meet again after the White Empress. Immediately, she drops 2 smoke bombs, then turns around, ready to sneak away. But the next second, she's struck on the back of her head by an iron wok. She passes out instantly. I watch the girl as she falls unconscious. I can't help but feel a little disappointed. He fainted so quickly. His skills aren't that impressive. Let's tie him up first. Li Fengzi and his 2 disciples burst through the door upon hearing the fighting. But the scene before them startled all 3 of them. I'm only wearing my pants. He's using a rope to tightly bind a young woman. Only the sound of pervert echoed through the inn. Then there was only the sound of banging and clashing. I was beaten into a swollen mess, kneeling on the ground. I honestly confessed everything that had just happened. Yao Buhui arrogantly crossed her arms. Lu Xier apologized with a bashful expression. Li Fengzi stepped forward to check on the girl. The Heavenly Blood Alliance has already sent spies. We'll need to be more cautious from now on. I then stepped forward and suggested, we could use it to extract some intelligence on the Blood Alliance. Just then, the girl slowly opened her eyes. What she saw were 2 men, one old and one young, staring at her with an evil, malicious look. What would you do if a beauty wanted to double cultivate with you? Just now, the scholar who had been lurking beside me for many days finally couldn't contain himself, and revealed his true self, using seduction on me. The girl slowly opened her eyes. Seeing that an old man and a young man, we too, were looking at her with ill intent. Hero, let's talk this over. Why do you need to tie up a weak woman like me? I smiled slightly, slowly putting on the gloves. I am a good person. I won't harm a flower. I'm just here to give you treatment. In the next moment, Suer and the other lady firmly held the woman down. I grasped the woman's little foot with one hand. I examined it carefully. Without saying a word, I jabbed at the sole of her foot. A tingling, numb, and aching sensation, like an electric current, shot through every corner of her body. The feeling was simply indescribable. Li the madman stepped forward, puzzled, and asked, why, with just a light touch, did this female spy become like this? This is merely ordinary acupressure stimulation. With just the right amount of pressure, it will produce an electric shock-like tingling sensation, and it's also beneficial to one's health. Strictly speaking, I am a doctor treating a patient. Besides, I'm a good person. A long time passed. The female spy had reached the peak of ecstasy. Finally, she confessed everything. Li Fengzi approached. He looked at the woman who had fallen asleep. His heart was filled with mixed emotions. Although this woman screamed terribly just now, there is not a single injury to her meridians. Moreover, her qi and blood are warm and smooth. Her physical condition is exceptionally good. First, Nye Xiaotian helped Grandpa Chiu advance to the level of a flower master. And now, with a snap of his fingers, he has tuned this woman's body to its optimal state. His cultivation seems to have reached an unimaginable level. If he were willing to lend a hand to help me, it's not impossible to make a personal sacrifice. Nightfall. I stand by the window, lost in thought. The small benefit I just left inside that spy's body might serve as a breakthrough point. Suddenly, Li Fengzi appears at the window. She apologetically says she needs my help with something. A sense of doubt arises in my mind. She came looking for me in the dead of night. If this gets out, it'll ruin my reputation. Unexpectedly, she started taking her clothes off without a word. I almost dropped my eyes out. To repay you for saving my life last time, please spend the night with me. I only gave the woman a foot massage, and it allowed her to break through from the 5th to the 8th level of cultivation. Just now, I spent the whole night struggling with Li Fengzi in my room. Completely drained, I almost collapsed the moment I stepped out. Then I saw Yao Buhui walking towards me, with dark circles under his eyes and looking listless. I quickly went up to him and took his pulse. His pulse clearly indicated that he had been frightened. What on earth happened? I followed Yao Buhui to his door. I was startled as soon as I opened the door by the scene inside. My lady, I've finally been waiting for you. I saw the intelligence agent, Wan Xiaoji, open her arms and lunge towards me. She knocked me straight to the ground. This scene left Yao Buhui in a daze. What the hell? What's going on here? I saw Wan Xiaoji straddling me, her face full of anticipation. My lord. Touch me. Hurry, keep touching me. Yao Buhui hurriedly explained from the side. It turns out that after the spy fainted last night, he suddenly woke up in the middle of the night, and kept screaming. The noise kept them awake all night. I wanted to knock him unconscious, but they couldn't even break through his protective chi. I sighed helplessly after hearing that. Actually, I did it on purpose. Last night, that wasn't just interrogation. It also helped her clear her meridians and aided her advancement. I'm a good person, you know. Although the first half was simply about making him suffer. Cultivators value their own cultivation above all else. He helped her improve her strength himself. Such a great temptation, it depends on which side he chooses. The moment I finished speaking, the female spy Wan Xiaoji immediately declared that she'd be mine in life, and mine in death, that she would do anything I asked, and with a shy expression, she said, that she still wanted me to come a few more times. Just then, Li Fengzi, fully dressed, pushed the door open and entered. She said that Li Fengzi was going to investigate the information about the innate blood alliance. Before leaving, she requested his assistance for us. When I heard this childish excuse, I couldn't help but think it over in my mind. Although it was clear that Mr. Li and this female hero had a deep relationship. But, the names, Crazy, and Zifeng, could they be the same person? Without further thought, the four of us sat together and began to discuss. Wan Xiaoji immediately raised her hand to report. This martial arts competition requires participants to be at least at the one-flower stage. These two girls are a bit lacking in strength. At that time, you'll only be able to stand on the sidelines and watch. You might even have to split your attention to protect them. When the two ladies heard this, they immediately refused and wanted to fight to try it out, but they were interrupted by Li Fengzi. Your strength hasn't reached the level of a single flower yet. At that time, it would indeed be hard to protect yourselves. However, if young Master Nyat is willing to help them open their meridians, so that their strength can be enhanced to a level where they can protect themselves, then even if the situation becomes chaotic, we won't be so passive. I wonder if young Master is willing. I am the one who is not easily swayed, but alas, the curtain will never fall. At this moment, I am helping Yao Buhui and Lu Xier open their meridians and raise their levels. Only the soft gasps of the two young women remained in the room. A moment later, I wiped the sweat from my forehead and walked out from behind the screen. Won't this be counterproductive? Li Fengzi said that given the urgency, exceptions had to be made. There was no other choice. I was somewhat speechless. Looking at the Liha sword and the Qihuang soft armor on the table, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Although I now know I have cultivation, I don't know how strong I am. The Qihuang soft armor emitted bursts of faint light. The next second, a little girl threw herself into my arms. She was calling me Papa. It turned out that the little girl was the spirit of the Qihuang soft armor, newly formed, supposed to be asleep, solidifying her soul. But because Lucy's strength improved, the spirit's strength also improved. I secretly groaned. I just patched things up and ended up with a spirit daughter. Damn it, isn't this exactly like unexpectedly becoming a father? Just then, we were interrupted by a shout. It turned out to be the 9th Grand Tutor arriving in Yushan City. Wan Xiaoji adjusted her long hair by her ear. Since the 9th Grand Tutor has come looking for trouble, there must be an ambush set up around here. It's not that easy to escape. I have a plan. It all depends on whether the gentleman and the heroine are willing to cooperate. A moment later, the door was kicked open by a few lackeys. However, the scene inside left them stunned. I was lying there shirtless. The two girls were also lying next to me, disheveled. What the hell is going on? We just finished. Can someone let me sleep? Several of the henchmen cursed their luck, seeing this scene so early in the morning. The two girls were just handed over to a stray dog. Why didn't God give me a girl? I sighed with relief as I watched the hounds leave. Li Fengzi, lying on the side, also felt despair in her heart. The dignified Empress Fengzi actually had to escape from enemies in such a way. This is an insult to our ancestors. On the other side, several hounds had finished their search. Come report to the ninth Grand Tutor, no abnormalities were found. The ninth Grand Tutor's expression is gloomy. My eyesight is poor, but my hearing is not deaf. When you were searching a certain room just now, your tone suddenly changed. Was there really nothing unusual there? We, hiding in the room, were also greatly shocked. It seems we can't hide it anymore. I'll have to draw them away first. Then everyone else can escape. Li Fengzi looked at me with reluctance. I immediately pushed open the door. I just finished having fun with two beauties, and you idiots dare to disturb your master. Do you really think I'm made of mud and have no temper? The ninth Grand Tutor was speechless upon hearing this. You little rascal, you were just messing around with two women. Amazing. 2 women. That's nothing. I, your master, am known as the unwavering golden gun. 10 more would be a piece of cake. Do you still want to watch and learn? But can you, a blind man, even see? Upon hearing this, the ninth Grand Tutor immediately gathered his spiritual energy. This seat has always despised those who openly indulge in debauchery. Boy, you're ready to die. I secretly felt pleased at the scene. If he just kills himself directly, wouldn't that send him back to the original world? But to my surprise, the next second, a burst of true chi broke through the window. It directly struck the ninth Grand Tutor's hand, which was gathering spiritual energy. A sudden explosion rang out. When the smoke cleared, a woman in red slowly walked forward. The ninth Grand Tutor of the Joseon dynasty sure has quite an aura. The person arriving is none other than the Fire Master of the Innate Blood Alliance. The ninth Grand Tutor had no choice but to give in. I'll give you face this once. The ninth Grand Tutor knows when to hold on and when to let go. May I presumptuously ask, as a man, are you, impotent? After saying that, he sat down heavily. So you're Nie Xiaoyan, the one who's been causing trouble for the Blood Alliance. I'm a little unhappy. You just got rid of my rival. Now it's your turn to play with me. The Fire Elder casts a seductive glance. Do you really want to play games with that impotent old man? If you're really invincible down there, how about playing with me instead? Damn. I can't back down now. I'm just afraid you won't be able to handle my size, and you'll end up revealing your own shortcomings. The Fire Venerable laughed upon hearing this. Interesting young man. I'll be waiting for you. After saying that, he blew me a kiss and left. I closed the door and finally breathed a sigh of relief. The next second, Wan Xiaoji crawled over and hugged my leg. Thank you for sparing my life. It turned out I hadn't told the Fire Venerable that he had already betrayed him. Otherwise, he would be dead. And to thank me, he's even going to warm my bed tonight. He only asked that I help him unclog his meridians afterward. I yanked away this lovesick fool and said to Li Fengzi, Bu Hui and Xier should be waking up soon. Please help them get dressed. Then we went out. Didn't Fire Elder say their tournament was about to begin? Just because I left Sister Donkey behind and went off to flirt. He started crying in sadness. And now, here I am, bringing 3 beautiful women to the tournament site. The place was already packed with people. Suddenly, a giant stone fell from the sky. It stopped just 0.01 millimeters from the ground. All I could see was the Red Elder of the Heavenly Blood Alliance sitting calmly on a giant stone. Quite a few people have arrived. It seems you all still give the Blood Alliance some face. Let's skip the pleasantries. Let's begin the preliminaries directly. As long as you strike the trial stone with a punch like I did, and don't get knocked back, you'll resonate with the trial stone. You will also see some indescribable illusions. The longer the resonance lasts, the higher the talent. As I watched the contestants being knocked away, I immediately realized that the stone was not so simple. Li Fengzi expressed that her main concern was what the resonance and illusions mentioned by the Red Elder actually were. At this moment it was finally Yao Buhui's turn. He stood before the trial stone, holding his breath and focusing his mind. He gathered all his spiritual energy into his left fist. Then, with one punch, he struck directly at the trial stone. In an instant, a shockwave hit. Yao Buhui only felt a flash in his eyes. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in the middle of an illusion. And within the illusion, my figure slowly appeared. Step by step, I moved closer to him. I directly grabbed his waist. Yao Buhui was a little shocked as he looked at my slowly approaching face. Have I really fallen for him? Mr. Nye is kind-hearted. It wouldn't be impossible to be with him. She immediately parted her lips and leaned in. A moment later, Yao Buhui blushed, feeling weak all over as she woke up from the illusion. Seeing this, everyone quickly asked if she was alright. I'm fine. I'm just a bit weak, that's all. You all need to be careful too, Lu Xier confidently said. That she was heartless, so it was impossible for illusions to appear later. A slap in the face comes quickly. The next moment, I also appeared in his illusion. Just like that, holding him tightly. Lu Xier's face was also flushed. This left me in a daze. Finally, it was our Feng Zi's turn. The next moment, In the illusion, I had already surrounded Li Fengzi. He was also puzzled. Could it be that he's developed feelings for me? Or is it because of that dual cultivation? Although it's shameful, why does it feel so good? A moment later, Li Fengzi finally woke up from the illusion. I saw this scene, and finally confirmed that there was something suspicious about that trial stone. At this moment, the Fire Lord was watching me with great interest from below the stage. Nia Xiaotian, this mysterious master, what kind of surprise will I give myself? I walked up to the trial stone. Without saying a word, I threw a punch. The trial stone slowly shattered. Then an explosion occurred. Everyone present was stunned by this scene. Just now, I shattered the trial stone with a single punch. A wave of fear struck his heart. Damn, he's not going to make me pay for this, right? At this moment, the spiritual energy collected by the Fire Elder was also overwhelmed, with cracks appearing all over it. The next second, it shattered with a loud snap. The spiritual energy returned to everyone's bodies. The Fire Elder was stunned. How powerful is Nia Xiaotian, exactly? One punch not only destroyed the trial stone, but also shattered all the spiritual energy she had collected. She's practically a demon lord. Helpless, she could only prepare the second trial stone. Finally, the preliminaries concluded smoothly. The official battle phase also began. The Mo Bay Great Hammer sect faces our Pure Loose Cultivator team. A woman with a muscular build and dual hammers stepped out from the Great Hammer sect. Yao Buhui was shocked at the sight. This strong woman seems to have the cultivation of a peak 4 flowers expert. Her cultivation is higher than ours. What should we do? Li Fengzi was seen slowly walking towards the stage with his sword drawn. He'll take care of this woman. The woman was enraged by these words. Spiritual energy surrounded her body. You're just a mere rogue cultivator. I'll smash you into a pulp with one blow. She immediately charged at Li Fengzi with her twin hammers. Li Fengzi bent down and easily dodged. Taking the opportunity, she swept a kick at the woman's lower body. Then she thrust a sword at the woman. A flash of blood appeared. The woman had been wounded in the chest. Once she stabilized her posture, it seems you're worth me going all out. Li Feng, graceful and commanding, points her sword forward. You're no match for me. You might as well surrender. As soon as the words were spoken, the woman suddenly went berserk in a hysterical rage. The next second, she transformed into a slim beauty. It turns out he cultivated a secret technique. He usually stores spiritual energy in his body, which is why he became so burly. Now he's merging his spiritual energy with his physical body, making his body smaller. His strength and speed have also increased accordingly. The onlookers below the ring immediately expressed that this is what they love to see. Li Fengzi fought alongside the woman again. He knew very well that he couldn't compete with her in cultivation or strength, but as long as he avoided her sharp attacks, he could defeat her with a single strike. With a thrust of his sword, the giant hammer in the woman's hand fell with a thud. She was also injured once again in the chest. Li Fengzi was quick to act. He slapped her in the stomach. He directly knocked her off the stage. The match finally came to an end. Lu Shi'er was overjoyed. I'm happy too. It seems that with your strength, taking down the remaining 3 shouldn't be a problem. Li Fengzi's face was grave. If I were to face the others, I'm not sure I could win so easily. Hearing that, I rolled up my sleeves. Since that's the case, you should rest for a while. Leave the rest to me. I've been here for so long. It's rare to encounter a master. Of course, I have to experience it properly. My time is very valuable. You guys can all come at me together. Facing 3 masters from the giant hammer sect alone. One is at the mid-stage of the 5th grade, holding a large hammer. The other is at the early stage of the 5th grade, holding a meteor hammer. Looking at the weapons they're holding, I finally understand why they smashed the Yi Ju hammer gate. At this time, below the stands, a donkey and an eagle who had secretly slipped into the venue, were excitedly cheering me on. This spurred me on to beat all those vixens. The 3 girls looked worried, afraid that taking on 3 top-level experts simultaneously might be too much for me. Li Fengzi said to me, when I just fought them, I noticed that the large hammers they used seemed to be forged from some special material. Not only can they draw on their own spiritual energy, but they can also easily tear through their own protective true chi. They told me to be extremely careful. Upon hearing this, it seems I really need to proceed with caution. I saw the 3 of them charging toward me at the same time. I easily dodged. First, we'll avoid its sharp edge. Then we'll look for opportunities to defeat them one by one. That giant hammer imbued with spiritual energy. When it struck the ground, the spiritual energy slowly gathered underground, directly converging on the Fire Venerable. On the ring, I easily dodged the 3 girls' attacks. Suddenly, 2 figures below the ring caught my attention. Damn, isn't that the damn System Owl? And that girl in the floral jacket looks kind of familiar too. Just as I was zoning out, the three girls finally found their chance. They swung a big hammer at me. With a loud bang, the hammer that hit my back shattered with a crash. I also regained my composure. It felt like something brushed against me. Damn! An ambush! Even a clay figurine has some fire left in it. I gathered my spiritual energy, intending to finish this quickly. Suddenly, the fire elder in the stands let out a surprised cry. I didn't expect Nya Xiaotian's spiritual energy to be so powerful. And I walked step by step toward the three girls. Spiritual energy surrounded me. I instantly disappeared from the spot. The two girls had no idea what happened. They had already collapsed on the ground, knocked out cold. I then appeared in front of the last girl still standing. I threw her flying out. Then, I gathered spiritual energy in my feet. He directly shattered the arena into pieces. The fire elder also reached his peak with my final strike. He couldn't help but shout out, "I can't go on." Immediately, he slumped weakly into his chair. Not only had he suffered internal injuries, but all the spiritual energy he had gathered earlier was also scattered. Nya Xiaotian, you just wait. I must obtain your spiritual essence. At this moment, I see that I have one. The little donkey, now in human form, jumped up with joy. My master is the most powerful. I turned to look at the sound. The little donkey was startled. Holy crap, does master recognize us now? We should retreat for now. If the master catches us, we'll definitely get ruined bald. We might even end up as donkey meat kebabs. The little donkey turns and runs. From a distance, Lucia waves and greets us. Brother Nye. Sister donkey, you're back. I walked up, holding the owl by its neck. This sister donkey has lived with me for over 100 years. I thought it was just an ordinary little donkey. It turns out the fool was actually me. Lu Sierre snatched the owl out of my hands. Brother Nye's spirit pet is so well behaved. At that moment, the Blood Alliance assassin, Dark Raven, approaches. The Fire Lord invites Mr. Nye to a feast. A woman is bound to squeeze me dry. But knowing there's a tiger in the mountain, I still head toward the tiger's den. I must test the Fire Lord's depths. As soon as we meet, the Fire Lord eagerly orders his subordinates to bring me an appetizer. Life in this world, it's nothing more than wine, sex, wealth, and power. If you can't enjoy them, it's ultimately all in vain. I wonder if Mr. Nye is interested in joining the Blood Alliance. I'm afraid that before I even join, you'll have drained my spiritual energy. During the preliminary martial arts competition, I felt the spiritual energy that everyone was dispersing gathering towards a certain place. As for where it is, the Fire Elder should know more about this than I do. And this room, the temperature is much higher than outside, isn't it? It's due to the rapid accumulation of spiritual energy. There should be some formation set up here. The Fire Elder calmly snapped his fingers. Congratulations, you got it right. It's a pity there's no prize. The moment you entered this room, you were already on the chopping block. As he spoke, he formed hand seals, releasing his spiritual energy. The golden spear, silver flower, furnace, and cauldron formation is activated. I was stunned speechless by the overwhelmingly arrogant name of this formation. A string of curses involuntarily escaped my lips. This damn thing is just a giant cauldron. As the formation started, I felt my spiritual energy rapidly draining away. I saw the Fire Venerable walking towards me step by step. You say you're invincible, huh? I want to see if you're as tough as your mouth. Saying this, she placed one beautiful leg directly on my shoulder. With a sudden push, she stepped me down beneath her feet. Invincible? Then the husband must reign. If the silver flower doesn't fall, then it should be the concubine who rules. This room has only your spear, but there are quite a few silver flowers. To die under the peony, Mr. Nye will have no complaints, right? I'm fully confident in my spear. Let's see if that's true. Come on. Don't back down just because mine is a golden spear. Face me head on. The formation is already activated, no one can leave. Then I won't hold back. You just directly sat on top of my golden spear like that. There was once a mountain, called Ascending to Heaven. Climb up the mountain, then you can feel the bliss of reaching the heavens. Suddenly, a vast black hole appears abruptly. It seems determined to engulf the entire heavenly mountain. The Fire Elder absorbs my abundant spiritual energy, and his cultivation is rising rapidly. But just moments later, he starts to lose control, driven mad by my spiritual energy. My body felt like it was about to explode. For a long time, the entire room of silver flowers had already collapsed on the floor. I mocked them. Why aren't you moving? Are you too weak? I was actually hoping to see if you could drain me dry. It's a pity you're all so disappointing. They all collapsed after just a short while. Since you're all so useless, I'll reluctantly have to take the initiative. Fire Venerable was shocked. I don't want it anymore. My furnace cauldron can't take it anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, The golden spear and silver flower furnace cauldron array shattered. The spiritual energy in the formation gathered all at once into my body. She specifically taught me a method for using a substitute. Lu Xier stepped forward, her face full of curiosity. Brother Nye, how exactly did you defeat them? I have suffering I can't say. The whole process was not suitable for children. Suddenly, it felt like I was electrocuted and I collapsed to the ground. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Yao Buhue squatted down to help me and asked, Miss Lu, do you know what happened to Mr. Nye? The owl on the donkey's head saw through it at a glance. He must have absorbed the returning spiritual energy, causing an imbalance of yin and yang in his body. In simple terms, he's overheated. The only solution is to harmonize his yang energy through dual cultivation. Everyone, upon hearing this, all blushed. But Wan Xiaoji looked excited. I'm coming. In life, I'm the official's person. In death, I'm the official's ghost. I haven't finished speaking, but I was immediately pressed to the ground and rubbed by everyone. With your cultivation, you'd be squeezed dry in no time. At this time, Empress Fengzi stepped forward. Let me do it. In terms of cultivation, I have the highest level here. I should be able to withstand it. Xia Mao LV immediately pushed everyone towards the room's exit, but suddenly turned around and flicked a finger. The Liangqin mat and Meijing pillow can double the efficiency of dual cultivation. The Jian screen is used for sound insulation. The Meijing pillow prevents disturbing others. As for how to do it, you should know. I won't go into detail. After saying that, he closed the door directly. Seeing this, the Wind Grace Empress helped me onto the Liangqin mat. If it weren't for helping himself, Nye Xiaotian wouldn't be facing such a predicament. Moreover, he is not the reincarnation of Mi Tian, but a chivalrous knight with a righteous heart. Even if I submit to him, it wouldn't be considered a disgrace to the royal bloodline. Meanwhile, within my consciousness, I was floating, burning with fever. Suddenly, the Empress of Grace embraced me from behind. You're now out of balance, yin and yang. You need yin to subdue yang. You became like this because of me. Leave the rest to me. Then, they kissed me on the mouth. The scene was too beautiful, not suitable for viewing. The next morning, I opened my eyes, and found the wind goddess lying beside me. After we got dressed, I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry about last night. The Wind Grace Empress adjusted her hair. It's all because of me. Naturally, I should compensate you. Besides, my cultivation has improved significantly because of it. Just think of it as being bitten by a small insect. Forget about it. I was immediately flustered when I heard that. A girl's chastity is the most important thing. I will definitely take responsibility. Seeing my attitude, the Wind Grace Empress smiled slightly. I was incredibly moved. Scene change. The Blood Alliance Martial Arts Tournament enters the second round. 2v2 winner takes all. And today's tournament is being hosted not by Fire Lord, but by Dark Raven. This is because Fire Lord mysteriously disappeared last night. And for today's first match, our two girls will be facing off against two contestants from the Mystic Sect. Empress Fengzi is extremely worried about her two disciples, because their opponents specialize in formations and illusions. Yesterday, one person swept through 4 opponents. 2 of the Xuanhuan sect disciples moved first. The 4-day life protection formation activates. The 3 talents shadow formation activates. That man not only had his spiritual energy surge, but also conjured multiple clones. He struck simultaneously, attacking the 2 young ladies, Yao Lu. A burst of spiritual energy exploded as it hit. Lu Xier's Qi Huang's soft armor took the blow head-on. The 2 from the Xuanhuan sect were astonished. They immediately stopped hesitating and charged forward. Yao Lu and the 2 young ladies exchanged a glance. They released their spiritual energy, driving back the many clones. Shao Qi, it's your turn. The weapon spirit Shao Qi appeared directly behind the woman. I raised my hand and struck her neck. Dare you bully my mother? I'll kill you. As the woman lost her fighting ability, the activated formation spun out of control. Yao Buhue seized the opportunity and attacked. The Liha sword, imbued with the power of a heavenly tribulation, bound the 2 tightly. The next second, they were flung from the arena. The 2 of them finally secured the victory. The graceful queen watched the arena, lost in thought. I should check out the next match. It would be wise to understand the opponent's strength. An old man with a cane slowly walked toward the arena. He was facing a pair of young twin brothers. What the hell is this? An old, about to fall apart guy comes out to humiliate the 2 of us, huh? We agreed on a 1-on-2. Why is it just you? Old G gently raised a hand. A small cat slowly stepped out from behind him. Though I am of old age, my beast taming skills are not insignificant. I'm fighting alongside my spirit beast. This doesn't break the rules. As soon as the words were spoken, the little cat instantly transformed into a human form. With a cute, fierce look, Dare to underestimate Grandma Hua, I'll make your butt explode if you do. The man had never been humiliated like this before. He swung a fist the size of a pot and charged at her. The fist looked huge. But a single finger gently stopped him. Spiritual energy surrounded her body. In an instant, she transformed into a beautiful young woman. Let Grandma open your eyes for you. After saying this, she flicked her finger, and sent the man flying. He flew away. The winner, Grandma Hua. We in the audience were stunned. I didn't expect that old man to be so impressive. He even turned young just now. The Empress Fengzi looked at that old figure, and felt like it was strangely familiar. That old man also looked at Li Fengzi. He made a series of movements with his hand, pointing as if to kneel, bow to His Majesty. After a while, the semi-finals are over. The Dark Crow activates its spiritual power to initiate the formation. The competition enters its final stage. Please enter the map of endless mountains and rivers and fight randomly. The last person standing will be the winner, and will receive the title Sea Pearl Pendant. Countless contestants were sucked into the Shanha picture. Li Fengzi was shocked by this sight. He had heard of the Shanha picture's reputation. Countless Meikue were raised inside. It was originally prepared for the final battle with the Joshuan dynasty, but it was used here instead. It seems the conspiracy runs deep. The four of us also flew towards the Shanha picture. I'm feeling a bit down in the landscape painting. As soon as I entered, I got separated from the three ladies. If I had entered in this position, wouldn't I have gotten separated? Ah! I already let Lady Zifeng down last night. Why am I still having improper thoughts about the other two ladies now? Although, it's every man's dream. Suddenly, a cry for help interrupted my dream. I saw a woman being pinned down by a group of little demons. I quickly picked up some rubble and drove the little demons away. These little demons, so young, already know how to take advantage of beautiful women. They really deserve to be beaten until their souls scatter. Before I could finish my sentence, the beautiful woman immediately threw herself onto me in gratitude. Just then, two more female demons suddenly appeared. Damn it, beautiful ladies, I'm a married man. If you really want a hug, let's find a safer place to continue our hug. While I was speaking, the two female demons lunged at me and bit my arms. I quickly mobilized my spiritual energy and knocked them away. The phoenix absorbs spiritual energy. Don't you have any other hobbies? The Wind Grace Empress, on the other hand, had just entered, and saw that old woman constantly besieged by Blood Alliance assassins. I never expected that you, old woman, are the thousand-handed Rakshasa flower of those days. Perhaps we should let the Heavenly Emperor's teacher, Hua Wuchang, go first. The Blood Alliance conference was set up to lure out the former imperial family. It's a pity that your once famous skill, Heavenly Flower Rain, has become a swan song, no longer able to protect the innate royal family. As soon as the words were spoken, a rain of swords formed from the surrounding spiritual energy fell from the sky. Empress Fengzi was surrounded by spiritual energy, slowly descending. Anyone who insults the innate royal family and its ministers. It turns out she fought alone against the minions of the 9 Grand Tutors back then. Her stamina was depleted. She barely managed to break through, but she found that her daughter had disappeared without a trace. He has been desperately searching for her all these years. It was only recently that he received a letter. Inside the envelope was not only his daughter's hair, but it also claimed that the prize for this conference would be a Chao Hai Zhu pendant. Naturally, he had to investigate. Reuniting with the teacher also felt like a blessing from the heavens. Let's act together and investigate your daughter's whereabouts. Yao Buhui and Lu Xier are not at peace either. The two are currently battling with a demon beast. Suddenly, a flash of golden light appeared. A figure instantly appeared in front of Lu Xier. The young girl has quite good physical conditioning. Uncle, let me check your body, how about that? Yao Buhui saw this and immediately attacked with his sword. To his surprise, the usually invincible Li He sword was deflected. The man grabbed Lu Xier's Qi Huang soft armor with one hand. He tugged hard and tore it off. He turned to look at Yao Buhui. The little beauty seems to be a spicy one. One lively and innocent. The other sharp and strong. What a perfect pair of sisters. I, the golden venerable of the Blood Alliance by birth, am also your future husband. As he spoke, he lunged towards the two of them. As soon as he approached, he was repelled by the spirit of Lu Xier's artifact. Yao Buhui shouted, perverted thief. He immediately threw out the Liha sword. The golden venerable was finally wounded by this strike. It seems that to defeat you, I will need to use some magical treasures. He then threw something onto the ground. In an instant, purple smoke filled the air. It turned into tendrils, entangling the two of them. The man had a wicked smile on his face. This is the immortal's burning desire scattering. Even an immortal would be consumed by desire if encountered. Before he could finish speaking, he was pierced through the chest by a long spear. It turned out that I arrived just in time to save him. Behind me, 2 women were fanning the wind for me, and he actually tried to take advantage of the young girl. I knew it, every one of you in the Blood Alliance is a good person. Tonight, I'm having braised bear paws with alcohol. So this giant bear is the Earth Lord of the Blood Alliance. The 2 women fanning are the Wind Lord and the Water Lord. They're in a tough spot. Not only did I just rub them underfoot, but they also have to follow me as my lackeys. They can only pin all their hopes on their boss, the Thunder Lord. Hua Jinglei, the Thunder Lord, is already at the peak of 10 flowers. I'll definitely teach that kid a lesson then. This old geezer is doing it for free. He teased the Empress Li while on the road. I didn't expect your majesty to be cultivating with a young boy. How exciting. Li Fengzi blushed. The teacher was like this many years ago. After all these years, he's still so frivolous. At this moment, a figure blocked their way. The person was none other than Elder Lei, once a revered and feared heavenly master. He was now respectfully following behind a young girl. It seemed that the young girl must be the long-lost Empress Fengzi. Once we capture you, the Blood Alliance will be able to come to a perfect end. With that said, the surrounding electric lights charged toward the 2 of them. Li Fengzi hurriedly raised both hands to block. At this moment, Thunder Elder released a clone. Hua Wuchang raised his hand and shattered that clone. Then he slapped Li Fengzi on the back. Unexpectedly, the true chi passed through Fengzi, the Empress's body. It directly struck Thunder Elder, knocking him back. Ji Fengzi was overjoyed. I didn't expect the teachers strike through the mountain and hit the ox and County Flower Flash to still be so powerful. The next second, Venerable Lei emerged unscathed. If it were any of the other 10 top experts, they would have died instantly. Now it's your turn to die. Having said that, surrounded by electric light, he attacked Li Fengzi. Empress Fengzi was electrocuted and was powerless to fight back. At this critical moment, someone blocked the fatal blow. It was Fire Venerable. Thunder Venerable, seeing who it was, became even angrier. He rushed over to kill this traitor, but he was stopped by Yao Buhui and Lu Shier, who arrived just in time. What use are a couple more insignificant ants? They're just offering themselves up. But have you ever heard of a palm strike that falls from the heavens? I struck Elder Lei with a single palm, sending him crashing to the ground. I slowly landed. Is this it? Is this the so-called strongest respect? Not that impressive. As soon as I finished speaking, Elder Lei suddenly leapt into the air. All the vast spiritual energy of the thousands of miles of mountains and rivers, come to me. I saw all the spiritual energy from the map of mountains and rivers gather into his body. As the spiritual energy gathered, the body of the Thunder Elder grew larger. He raised his foot, intending to crush us like ants. But I just want to ask, if you're lifting your leg this high, aren't you afraid I'll see your underwear? I looked at that enormous soul, feeling a bit excited. Leaping into the air, I punched it down. This Thunder Lord is also quite tough. Even lying down, he's still shouting. This form of mine is immortal and indestructible. Even if your strength is sky high, you can only be slowly worn down by me. I'm also full of fighting spirit. It's just the right time to test my current strength on you. And getting hit must hurt, right? I don't believe I can't beat you to death with pain. Next, it's time for my heavy golden wind claw. The scene is too beautiful. Let's skip it. After a while, Master Lei has been beaten into a pig's head by me. I bet even his mom wouldn't recognize him. Master Hua reminds me, he and the map of thousands of miles of rivers and mountains are one. As long as it's within this, even dismemberment can be restored. I hold her in my hand, with spiritual energy swirling around her. Since this world blocks me, then I will shatter this firmament. At this moment, the map of the mountains and rivers is covered with cracks. And the next second, it shatters completely. All the participants return to the real world. Without the support of the map of thousands of miles and mountains, Lei Zun's physical form slowly began to collapse. We all safely returned as well. And I also obtained a trophy, the Tide Sea Pearl Pendant. I saw Fire Zun kneel in front of Lao Hua Wuchang. Mother, daughter, I finally found you. This scene shocked us a bit. I was a bit frustrated. Although it was a stand-in that night, it could still be considered that. Logically, this old lady should be my mother-in-law, right? Hua Wuchang was even more excited, trembling all over. Are you Hua? But how did you become the Fire Elder of the Blood Alliance? It turns out that the spiritual shock I caused that night nearly cost the Fire Elder his life. In a moment of danger, he hid into the mountain and river map, and barely survived. However, it was precisely because my spiritual shock disrupted the memory seal on him, that he regained his childhood memories. When he was young, it was Dark Crow who brought him into the Blood Alliance, and trained him to become an assassin. Even if the memory has been sealed for years, he vaguely remembers what his mother looked like. The Empress, graceful and dignified, stepped forward to remind him. She feared this might be a conspiracy by the Blood Alliance, but the elder had a method to discern bloodlines. The truth would be revealed with a simple test. He gently placed his hand on the fire priest's forehead. So, will you practice this technique or not? It turns out it just happened. The scene was extremely touching, but there's always someone who ruins the moment. I saw the dark crow slowly approach. To put it simply, this conference is meant to draw out your Hua Wuchang's preparations. Hua Jing, you, the heavenly master, have countless strategies in your mind. But we never expected that the little girl we've controlled for hundreds of years would actually break free. Yao Lu and the two young ladies immediately became furious. So it was you, you bastard, who caused Grandma Hua and her daughter to be separated for hundreds of years. Just die quietly, we'll make it quick for you. The Dark Raven's expression remained calm. Have you forgotten about the envoys of the four great kingdoms? They could kill you without breaking a sweat. I request that the four lords step in and subdue these madmen. The Blood Alliance guarantees that only 1/10 of the treasures in the ruins will be taken. The remaining 90% belongs to the four nations. I wasn't in a hurry when I saw this. I reached out and grabbed the Empress of Elegance's hand. I placed the tidal pearl pendant in her hand. Keep this safe. I'll go deal with those four fools. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the envoys of the four nations struck instantly. I didn't expect that the one being attacked would be the Blood Alliance's Dark Crow. We saw the 9th Grand Tutor slowly walk out. This position will not be given to your Blood Alliance. Everything will be taken over by my Joshuan dynasty. We were also shocked upon seeing this. Why would the envoys from the four kingdoms obey him? But I noticed something was off. Take a close look at those envoys. Their actions are completely listless. It seems they're being controlled. The Wind Grace Empress revealed the reason. Each of the 9 Grand Tutors possesses unique skills. The 9th Grand Tutor especially likes to hide his strength. He strikes fatally when his enemies are complacent. Hearing that, I let out a string of curses. This isn't old 9. It's old 6, right? I didn't expect old 6 to attack directly. I stood in front of everyone and took the blow. You guys go ahead. I'll handle old 6 and his 4 puppets myself. A formation also appeared under the feet of the others not far away. The next second, they disappeared right in front of my eyes. Watching his wife disappear with her life uncertain, what man could bear that? Spiritual energy erupted within him, and directly blasted away the envoys of the four kingdoms. You old bastard. I swear I'll peel your skin off. Over here. Wan Xiaoji was attentively feeding the little donkey high-quality hay. I fell from the sky. I went up and grabbed Wan Xiaoji. Everyone else was taken by the 9th Grand Tutor. They've likely gone to the ancient site of the Xiantian royal family. Do you know where it is? Wan Xiaoji was dazed after I shook her. 50 miles west of Yushan City. Upon hearing this, I no longer hesitate. I grab Wan Xiaoji by the hand. I immediately hop onto the donkey. I let loose and start running. Meanwhile, the others who disappeared were teleported into the primordial ruins. The 9th Grand Tutor watches the group with excitement. All of you, prepare to die. With that, he activates his eye technique. Everyone only felt a darkness before their eyes, and fell into an illusion. It turns out the 9th Grand Tutor had a pair of special eyes. Normally, they require spiritual energy to nourish. This was the reason his cultivation had stagnated, and this eye technique causes those affected to fall into a dream, unable to break free on their own. If the eye technique is not undone, everyone will be forever trapped in their dreams. The Empress, unseen for many years. As long as I kill you, the Joshuan dynasty will have no more worries. The words had just left his mouth, when he was struck in the chest. It turned out that the Empress was not affected by the pupil technique. I saw through your pupil technique a long time ago, and I have the jade protector of the pupil. The eye technique and cultivation you've worked so hard to refine are now mine. All the spiritual energy within the 9th Grand Tutor's body surged toward the Empress Fengzi. A moment later, Empress Fengzi spat out blood and collapsed to the ground with a loud crash. The 9th Grand Tutor was overjoyed. You want to absorb my power? You're still too inexperienced. Seeing you in such pain, I can't bear it. I'll send you to the Pure Land to be liberated. Just as the knife was about to fall, I arrived on my little donkey in time. I punched the Grand Tutor in the face, and nailed him directly to the wall. Everyone instantly snapped out of it. I hurriedly stepped forward to check the Wind Empress's injuries. She hadn't fully recovered from her previous wounds. After several intense battles, she had absorbed a tremendous amount of spiritual energy. If this continues, her meridians and cultivation will likely be ruined. I'm afraid I'm powerless this time. Hua Wuchang fell into thought upon hearing this. In the past, I obtained a technique that can repair meridians. It might be able to save Miss Sifeng. Mr. Nya and Miss Sifeng are Dao partners. If Mr. Nya learns this technique, he might be able to save Miss Sifeng. But this technique requires 3 stages of cultivation. We were shocked by these harsh words. Who wrote this script? Come out here. I must thank you properly. Wawar Nono raised her hand. I can. After all, I had previously cultivated with Mr. Nya. Now it's Wawachang who's not calm. What exactly did you do to my daughter? I hope you explain it properly. She sighed immediately. Saving lives is the priority. I won't dwell on this issue. I can only go through with it, even if it's difficult. Although I was with Miss Sifeng earlier, I wasn't fully aware at the time. Now it's my turn to take the initiative. I still feel a bit reluctant, though. I didn't expect Huahua to have already prepared. Our last encounter was also Hua's first time, so this time, please be gentle, young master. Previously, when using the cauldron formation, I used self-made puppet maids. I didn't expect young Master Nye's strength to be so terrifying. That's why I had no choice but to personally participate. I'm heartbroken when I hear this. So my first time was mostly given to those inflatable dolls. I placed my hand on his shoulder, and sincerely told him, I will treat you well from now on. Now, we need to rescue Zifeng first. A moment later, we had begun the 3rd repair. I never expected to end up with 2 wives in this world. Isn't this better than the original world? A day and a night later, the Wind Grace Empress slowly opened her eyes, but the scene before her shocked her greatly. What exactly did you do to me? Why is Huahua here too? Moments later, the 2 of us were kneeling on the ground, confessing our crimes. Having understood the whole story, the Wind Grace Empress no longer held it against them. I can only lament that my teacher is still so unreliable even after all these years. Turning to look at the enormous portal, I was shocked. It must be hiding some incredible treasure inside. I immediately placed my hand on the large door, carefully sensing it. I found the entry point of the energy. The great door could be broken open. I looked at the open door with delight. Now we can begin our treasure hunt. Unexpectedly, Wan Xiaoji called on video at this time. The Blood Alliance High Command already knows about Yushan City. They've already sent a large army to seize the treasure. It seems Yi Zhushan intends to, and use this to resurrect some demonic figure. So that Zhushan from before was also one of the 4 great treasures passed down from the ancestors of the previous imperial dynasty. Could it be that they want to resurrect the true Mi Tian? Thinking of this, Li Fengzi hurriedly said to me, if the Blood Alliance really gets the treasure and resurrects the Demon Lord, I'm afraid this world will be plunged into chaos. We'll split up. You take Buhui and Sierra into the ruins to search for the treasure. Grandma Hua and I will go stop the Blood Alliance. The situation is urgent. Miss Sifeng, you must take good care of yourself. Once we find the treasure, I will join you as soon as possible. When we entered the ruins, the scene inside shocked us. Inside the ruins, the sunlight shone brightly, just like the description in Tao Yuanming's Peach Blossom Spring. I hadn't even had time to admire the scenery when several demonic beasts pounced on us. Lucy quickly activated the Qi Huang soft armor for defense. Little Donkey was also a little frightened. With Lucy's limited skill, the Qi Huang soft armor won't last long. Master, quickly help her transmit some true Qi. Without hesitation, I placed my hands on Lucy's back and transmitted my spiritual energy. With my spiritual energy supporting it, the Qi Huang soft armor instantly became powerful. Shoot down all those demon beasts. Lu Xier transforms into a little fangirl. Brother Nya, you're so amazing. Our actions were clearly observed by the owl from high above. We still need to be careful. After all, part of that guy is sealed here. So there's a seal somewhere around here that contains part of the demon god Mitian. Right now, he's secretly controlling my body. It seems heaven itself is fighting for me, sending this body before me to help me escape. This way, we've been walking for hours. We haven't found anything but trees. Where's the treasure you promised? Just said that. Several birdmen swooped down on us. The girls fought back bravely. Yao Buhue was suddenly knocked back by a birdman. She immediately activated her Liha sword, ready to strike with full force. But I instantly rushed in front of her. Miss Buhue, once the Liha sword is drawn, there will be bloodshed. Wait a moment. Leave them to me. Saying this, I grabbed the hand of one of the birdmen in front, and slammed him to the ground. Then I grabbed the other birdman, and threw him against a tree. Xiao Mao Lu was puzzled to see me only using martial arts. Extremely puzzled. Master, why did you go easy on them? The birdmen I casually tossed around. I didn't expect their real forms to be beautiful women with curves. Not long ago, I brought the 2 young ladies, Yao Lu, to search for treasure in the innate ruins. I didn't expect a few birdmen to charge at us. I immediately saw through it. After knocking them all unconscious, they were tied up. The 2 girls were extremely puzzled by this. These are all monsters. Why not just kill them? I didn't know how to explain it for a moment. I casually took out from my storage space a mirror and gave it to Lu Dangqi. This mirror can break the magic and illusions. You might as well just look at the result. LV Dangqi stepped forward and directed the mirror at those birdmen. In an instant, the birdmen transformed into young women with fair skin. Seeing this, the two young women hurried over to untie the ropes. They kept apologizing as they did so. The leading woman pulled me, Yi, aside, bowing and clasping hands. Thank you, sir, for saving us. Otherwise, we would have continued to be lost in the evil sorcery. I waved my hand somewhat embarrassedly. It was just a small thing. You're welcome. As soon as I finished speaking, a girl's cry of surprise suddenly came. I hurried back upon hearing the sound. I saw a young woman surrounded by spiritual energy. Her previous injuries had completely healed. Yao Buhui muttered in shock. I only accidentally dropped a drop of blood on him. Not only has his injury healed, but his cultivation seems to have greatly improved. The leading woman quickly grabbed Yao Buhui's wrist. She sniffed the wound on his finger. The next second, those young ladies knelt down before Yao Buhui in unison. We are of the Butian clan. We greet the imperial heir. We are the descendants of the previous emperor's family, guarding against the demons. 10,000 years ago, we received the emperor's order to guard the seal on the demon imprisoned here, and our ancestors predicted that 10,000 years later, an imperial heir would come to strengthen the seal. We did not know the imperial heir would arrive. Please forgive me. Lu Xier and I stood in front of Yao Buhui. Can we clarify the situation before we bow? Besides, Miss Lu grew up alongside her senior sister. How did she become the heir now? The innate royal bloodline not only boosts our strength dramatically, but it can also heal our injuries. This is something only the direct bloodline of the innate royal family can achieve. Hearing this, Lu Xier looked at her senior sister in shock. She never expected that the senior sister who had grown up with her since childhood was actually the princess. Now, our clan is facing life and death, so we asked the imperial heir to accompany us to the village. I glanced slightly at Yao Buhui. Yao Buhui seemed to not have calmed down yet. I don't even know if I'm royalty. Since they need our help, we might as well go and take a look. On the road, Yao Buhui was still thinking about this matter. The master only said he was an orphan, but never mentioned anything about being related to royalty. Also, the four great innate treasures can only be wielded by those of royal blood, but Sister Zifeng is able to use the innate treasure. Could it be that he is also of royal descent, and that he has a blood relationship with me? On the other side, the sealed Mitian was overjoyed to see a descendant of the imperial family arrive. He was extremely happy. He waved his hand. A wisp of demonic energy headed towards the village. After a long while, we arrived at a village. As soon as we entered the village, we were stunned by the scene before us. There wasn't a single man in the whole village. It was all women. As soon as I entered the village, I was surrounded like a panda. But I didn't expect the enthusiasm to make me feel a little dizzy. I fainted directly onto a woman. That woman, however, looked like she was enjoying it. He invited me to pull radishes with him tonight. Seeing this, the woman who had brought us back to the village grabbed us and ran. Moments later, we arrived at a house. Village head. We encountered distinguished guests during our patrol. They have now been brought to the village. According to the royal prophecy, the heir should have arrived by now. Come in and reinforce the seal quickly. Yao Buhui and I exchanged a glance. Then she entered the room. It turns out the village chief still has her charm. Yao Buhui sat down cross-legged. She told the village chief everything that had happened on our journey. The village chief sighed after listening. 10,000 years ago, the royal family sealed a demon here. My people have guarded this seal ever since. At the same time, they left behind a life-saving measure. Whenever a new emperor ascends the throne, they must enter the ancient ruins. They must use their own blood to reinforce the seal. Reinforcing the seal requires a few drops of your blood. I beg your pardon for my disrespect. The village head was surrounded by demonic energy. He held the dagger in his hand. The next second, he lunged at Yao Buhui.